Welcome to America's Third Party. Long live liberty, equality, and sustainability. We are ATP. Welcome to America's Third Party, and let's all join the voter revolt, everybody. It's the only way to solve America's problems, and I believe that this decision to start this show, which was, a year and a half ago, has really helped prevent war. Our anti-war rally didn't happen on Saturdays 2 years ago. We actually were fine taking Saturday off, Sunday off. Hello, everyone. I'm David Sponheim, running for president in 2016. But because our schedule is part of the organic process of building a political movement, 4-hour day dedication, now 6 days a week for the past year and a half, has helped. And I believe that the fact that the American people were basically overwhelmingly against the Vietnam War led to the end of the Vietnam War. And I believe if we have more people on the blog like ourselves being against war, we're going to prevent a war in Syria and a war in Ukraine or any other country, a war with Iran. We're going to prevent it not by making ridiculous, pricey agreements with terrorists like Iran is and has been. And I certainly don't support the deal that Iran and Barack Obama have brokered. But I can tell you that we're never going to buy these people. They see us as weak when we offer them money. They resoundingly supported this because they got $155 billion out of this. I mean, how could that country not sign the deal? Before the deal, they said they didn't want to create a nuclear weapon. After the deal, they say they're not going to create a nuclear weapon. Yet they just released information on CNN, which shows Iran's nuclear capability is growing. Now, I'm going to show you right now an underground facility that Iran has publicly announced on the heels of this agreement, this ridiculous agreement that Obama and John Kerry put together to put a feather in their hat. I'm going to show you this because I've got footage of it right now for all of you to see. It's kind of mind-blowing. These people are all about hating on Israel, and there's not a stitch of information in that agreement that even acknowledges Israel as a state. This is how completely gone Barack Obama has been in the past. And this is why he put together the worst possible deal on earth with the enemy. Let's watch this.
Almost like a scene from an action movie. Dozens of ballistic missile launching systems inside a gigantic cave. But the video shows Iran's missile program is very real and very big, as the head of the elite Revolutionary Guard's Aerospace Division says. The missiles in various ranges are mounted on launchers in all bases and are ready to be launched, he told an Iranian state TV reporter, and added, that is, if enemies make a mistake. The video was published only days after Iran test-fired a new generation of ballistic missiles Tehran says are capable of reaching targets in Israel, possibly breaching UN resolutions the U.S. believes.
We've got strong indications that those missile tests did violate UN Security Council resolutions that pertain to Iran's ballistic missile activities.
But why this saber-rattling so shortly after the nuclear agreement that many believe will help improve relations between Iran and the West? Iranian hardliners in the powerful conservative clergy and in the military say they fear American influence on the country could expand and warned their followers at recent Friday prayers. We will never allow America to enter into our culture, into our economy, or for the great Satan to influence our policy.
All right, I've heard enough right now. I'm going to postpone the rest of this clip for a little bit later because I can only handle so much of their rhetoric and propaganda that they're spewing. Look, I don't trust these people farther than you can spit. And I got to tell you, I was against this agreement, and I believe that every sensible American, when they hear the real details of this, would agree that the agreement is of no value to the country that we so proudly call America. We will break the agreement. When I become president, they're not receiving a penny. In fact, we're going to be working collaterally to reestablish a strong line of defense against their buildup of weapons. I cannot imagine a country that has 9 missile factories, lied to the IAEA about the enrichment of uranium about 7 years ago, outright lied and got caught in a lie, and virtually creating neutron detonators to ignite a nuclear weapon. And, you know, we don't know if these are dirty bombs or what they are, or if they're going to be some sort of an exponential bomb like a typical nuclear bomb is. Bottom line is, these people have weapons, Scud missiles, that will make it not only to Israel, but points farther. Okay. You know, I don't think your Speedo's relevant to the show, so I'm going to ask you to get focused and talk about other things besides your Speedo. Well, and there's the linchpin right there, 4712. Israel has been lying about having nuclear weapons for how many years? And did Barack Obama go to Israel and say, hey, would you like to sign the nuclear non-proliferation agreement? No, he didn't. It shows me he has no mind. That would have been the first step toward negotiating with Iran, is to get Israel on board with a signature saying they don't want to create new nuclear weapons, that they have nuclear weapons. You know, that would have been a strategic move for Israel, but Israel still wants to linger in the background of pretending like they don't have nuclear weapons and continue receiving money from our government, which, by the way, violates the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement if they indeed have nuclear weapons. We can't give them any money. They could be ours, but we need to at least have them sign on to the fact that they've got them and they want to begin reducing them. Then we would have a credible thing to take to Iran, but frankly, Iran's not going to sign anything. It's obvious. Yeah, Donald Trump believes he rules the world, so it's not unlike him to write a letter to the debate committee. Hey, let's talk about what you just said earlier. Israel is not innocent, guest 4712. I acknowledge that. And I acknowledge that they have an existence of nuclear programs. And I acknowledge that they need to sign on to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement. So yeah, I'm on board with economic sanctions against Israel if necessary. I'm okay with that. So bear in mind, I understand your perspective, but we cannot give Iran a free rein here. Every time they get a little wiggle room, they run a mile. And this is a big win for them. They're laughing at the American people because they just took $155 billion of our money and they offered nothing in return. They claimed that they were going to cut their centrifuge production from 1,000 down to 500. And then they're going to keep 500 just to create nuclear radionuclides to deal in medical areas. I mean, which could be easily converted to weapons-grade uranium if they want to take it a few steps further. I mean, the whole thing is absurd. And those underground rail systems that I just showed you, you want to go back to them? Okay.
Supreme Leader's military advisor said. Anti-American and anti-Israeli rhetoric have increased, with Iran's supreme leader even saying that Israel will not exist in 25 years, a quote now on posters around the capital. But recent polls show a majority of Iranians want better relations with Western countries. Business leaders in Tehran hoping international investment will increase thanks to sanctions relief as a result of the nuclear agreement, which was ratified by Iran's parliament Tuesday by a large majority.
Lovely, yeah, and you know, let's not forget these underground facilities that are sitting there, you know, the bunkers, the weapons, the preparations. Yeah, nice. So they're showing us their nuclear weapons. And they say they're not going to create them. Oh, these are just Scud missiles that'll fire on Tehran. Or fire on Tel Aviv. Yeah. I don't believe that Trump and Carson, honestly, if he thinks that's the winning formula, Americans have seen gimmicks before, but another gimmick is not what they need for president. They don't need a corrupt corporate pig to run our country into more credit. Believe me, Donald Trump has had one major solution to his problems in life, and that's expansion of his credit by the Federal Reserve. Yeah. California cops caught on live TV brutally beating an unarmed man. And here this was going to be a calm, peaceful show. I so wanted this to be a peace rally. But here we see violence every day in the streets of America perpetrated on innocent people who are unarmed. Folks, I'm going to show you a piece from what Scissor Fight just brought in. I haven't seen it myself, so be prepared for some violence. Our country is turning into a police state, and they can't even protect our own citizens. It's really sad. They're using this as a chance to become more of a totalitarian nation. I realize, Walton, we're going to have to cut back on the funding to Israel, because if they're using it to create weapons, that's not good. Yeah. Well, you can blame Israel. You can. We don't need to be inextricably connected at the hip to a nation dedicated to global power and domination. If there is some sort of a Zionist backbone behind this state of Israel, and I do acknowledge the existence of Israel, and I can't in any way think that it's ever going to disappear. Whereas Iran is hell-bent on destroying Israel and their state, not even acknowledging their state, the state of Israel, the country of Israel. But I'm not fused at the hip with Israel. I'm not a Zionist, and I certainly don't support the idea of a Zionist takeover. So I'm totally in your court, but don't think for a second you can trust the Iranians. If you guys are taking sides here, you need to rethink your whole position. And I ask you to take a sober look at what Iran has done over the past 20, 30 years. They spent all their money, not on a refinery to refine all the oil they produce. They've got no refinery capability. They ship their oil out and bring gas in. They spent all their money on missile factories, 9 of them to be exact, within about 50 clicks of Tehran. And these missile factories pump out missiles like the ones you were just looking at. Okay. These things. All right, let's take a look here. A San Bernardino County, California deputy sheriff was caught on video brutally beating a helpless, unarmed African-American man in Southern California on Thursday. Representatives from the California Highway Patrol explained that officers followed a suspect for 40 minutes, all the way from Rancho Cucamonga to Pasadena. Officers grew increasingly angry after one of them crashed into a tree during the chase. Even though the fleeing driver did not ram him or in any way cause the accident aside from fleeing. And Officer Monica Posada from the California Highway Patrol told reporters that the high-speed chase with the 1996 Lincoln Coupe began at 10:53 a.m. The chase and its aftermath were captured on aerial video by KTLA News helicopter. Okay, let's take a look. Be aware, there is violence. Nice. Look at this. Okay, they got him on the ground. Have they cuffed him? They're hitting him mercilessly. He's just he wants to. His natural response is to defend yourself. They're hitting him in the head. They're kneeing him in the head. You're looking at raw violence here. You're looking at the police state in action. Okay, they subdued him. Barely conscious. Wow. All right. So I guess the police protocol is to hit a person while you're trying to cuff him. Okay. Thanks for that video. Most police think they're above the law. Well, that's going to change when I become president. I assure you, I am not going to sit back like Obama has and watch police brutality against innocents. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. We need to get a certain accountability from police, and the best way I think we can do it is by telling we're not going to fund them. We'll cut funding, federal funding to their entire city if they don't fire these police patrol cops from the force. This is turning into a farce. It's not funny because over 635 people now this year have died, unarmed people have died at the hands of police brutality. Now, they may have been involved in a crime, admittedly, but seriously, unarmed people, 635, most of them white, by the way. Doesn't really matter what color, they're dead. It's way out of hand and it's got to stop, so I need your help to do this. Look, we've got an unbelievably corrupt two-party system that's allowed this incredible police state to fester and metastasize. Much like a malignant tumor, it will take over our rights, our freedoms, our nation. And slowly people won't even want to walk out of their house. They'll be living in fear of God knows what, being chipped by an RFID chipping machine, by a local robot coming to their door. Killedbypolice.net has an update of the number of people. Oh, talk about sad. I cannot even scroll through this picture fast enough to show you all the dead people from 2015. You ready to go down through the list? Oh, starting with October 17th, proceeding backward in time. Dead. 25, 1846, 27, Roberto, Bernard, Richard, Travis, Gary, Omar, Rodney, Eric, Jeffrey, Christopher, David, Matthew, Phyllis, Robert, Wesley, Patrick, Brandon. I can't even keep up with the list. And I'm not even getting started. All these people are dead. And this is just up to the September 23rd, not even 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. Oh, jeez. I'm 635 is a lot. Dead. All unarmed. All, perhaps they were whatever. They might have been shoplifting. I don't know. I don't know the specifics in each case, but I can tell you these people did not need to die. We need to change police protocol. We need to make sure that we don't have a shoot to kill policy in America. Now, American presidents in the past have exercised authority in this matter. This president has been moot. He put together the 21st century of police doctrine, a doctrine on policing which doesn't include any, I'm still scanning. Yeah, all these people are dead. And we finally reached the back of the list. The first person, January 1st, Garrett Cagney, age 22, killed by police. Longmeadow man dead after being struck by a Chatham police cruiser. Struck by a cruiser. This happens too quite a bit. 2 innocent girls were just recently killed in Georgia last week. We got a phone call from one of our supporters and they said, yeah, did you hear about this? 2 girls, beautiful girls, were killed by a cop driving too fast. And what's really crazy is this was his third warning. He'd been warned twice before not to drive fast. He was clocked at 95 miles an hour and he T-boned 2 beautiful women in a car who are now dead. Would you like to see their pictures? And God Erased reminded us they still have not released the autopsy reports from the Waco biker massacre, in which 9 bikers, I believe, were killed, one of which was a Cossack, 8 of which were Cossacks and one was a Bandito. So there were more Cossacks killed than Banditos in that killing in Waco. You know what was really weird about that massacre, God Erased? The eyewitness reports were that the police were shooting in and killing people. I am a good man, thank you. Why do you feel you need to do this all on your own? Well, I'm asking you for help, Pink Floyd. Yeah. And the one big problem that we have, Pink Floyd, this guy named Pink Floyd in our show, the one big problem we have is we don't have any serious money to take on the toughest, most corrupt 2 parties in American history. we haven't really received a lot of donations. The only donations we have are in our bank account, sitting there like on hold. So I appeal to your mind, all of you, to realize that you either have to talk about us, post on the internet, forums, on Reddit, Politico, Huffington, whatever, or make a donation. So if you want to bring on a donation, that would be very welcome. But, I'm not here to solicit donations. I'm really here to fight the power of money. It was too flawed. Sorry. I'm here to try to fight the power of money. You see, money has taken over our nation's political environment. Money buys position in the mainstream media. Money makes the world go round, unfortunately. So you want an honest guy? I'm here. I'm just putting myself out as an honest man running for president and trying to save this nation from an imminent disaster financially, of our rights and our freedoms and our Constitution being eroded by a liberal mindset which seems to be getting tons and tons of money. Like Hillary has $2.3 billion in her campaign war chest. I'm not into money myself. I'm not materialistic. So I've never made it a big issue in our show, and I've never pushed for it. But honestly, if you expect me to do anything, we've got to do it through cable TV, which is not controlled by censors. And I've got a way to do that. I've already run nearly $1,000 have been spent on cable TV commercials, and we saw immediate results in 2 elections already. We had spikes of 15,000 more people at our website every day that we ran commercials in test areas in swing states. And I can tell you that this does work. I can get TV commercials as low as $5 or even lower if I buy them in bulk per spot. And I can reach up to 15,000 people watching TV at any given time in any one area. I say up to because not everybody's watching ESPN at 2 in the morning. But some people are. All right, well, I disagree, and I think you're denigrating the whole concept of police brutality as it's a negative thing. You're making it a positive thing. I don't really understand that. How can you say that running over a guy on the road is okay? You're very heartless, guess 373. David, how often do you smoke marijuana? Hardly ever. But I do have a vaporizer, and, occasionally, it's nice to take a little puff on the vaporizer. What's ESPN? Yeah. How often do I vaporize marijuana? Well, I guess you'd say intermittently, probably cyclically between 1 and 2 times a month, at the very least. Sometimes it's nice to just kick back and, relax. And at the White House, right over here, we're going to have a humidor, a little room dedicated to marijuana, and I'm going to keep a volcano in there, and we're going to run the volcano with an open feed. So anytime anyone walks in and opens the door, and there'll be a separate seal, they can go in for a maximum of 30 seconds, and they have to come out because we don't want them to get sick or anything. But the whole room will be recycling THC. World leaders who are stressed out, you can only imagine how that's going to be a big benefit. Hello, would you like to go to my humidor and we'll relax a little bit for 30 seconds? And they'll come out like, why are we at war, man? I don't understand why there's a conflict here. Yeah, I totally agree. Why do you think the Native Americans used to smoke the peace pipe? Because they were addicted? No. There is no physical addiction to marijuana. Because it was a way to communicate and understand life in a different perspective. Many chiefs of many different tribes offered the peace pipe to people that they thought they respected. Well, the volcano is just one of the technologies out there. The herbalizer, any number of technologies that you feel is better, we can certainly look at that. But why does it matter? What difference at this point does it make? whether we have an herbalizer or a volcano in our humidor. Do you like me in the herbalizer? Oh. Yeah, you're talking about a product that apparently has a multitude of uses. Yeah, so we'll have an herbalizer positioned right there in the humidor, pumping out some really nice sativa. No, I can't afford to get high on the job, okay? Period. But you know when a president is working 24/7? You know there's some time at 2 in the morning when I'm going to want to walk in there and relax, right? You know that. You're watching college football? Well, how do you know they're not watching you? It really does. Well, thanks for sharing, man. It's always nice to hear, people who believe that, they've got a better tool to smoke the ganja man. If only man, the Rasta man, Bob Marley would smoke this, he would have not had brain cancer. I think it's the fact that he smoked cigarettes too, tobacco, along with marijuana. I think that might have gotten Bob Marley. I don't know of anybody who's actually died from smoking marijuana. Do any of you know people that have died from smoking marijuana? I've heard of people with like black lung. On New York Viking, there was a hoax. The local police had a knee-jerk reaction and didn't call me on my numbers that I had filed with them 5 years prior and 2 months prior. The local PD or the local sheriff didn't seem to have my number even though it was in the system, and they didn't call me. Instead, they assembled a SWAT team in my area and proceeded with what I call very, very bad protocol. And I'm still looking into all the ramifications of what happened. But all I can tell you is they didn't make a phone call to me until it was too late. And then they literally stuck us out in the road and I had to lay down and they cuffed me. I've never done a bad thing in my life and they cuffed me. There's a reason why the volcano is $550 and the herbalizer is $750. Yeah. It's called a ripoff. Look at, man, I know people that get more weed out of a joint. God. One of the big selling points about people that smoke joints is that it literally draws the THC and the cannabinoids into the joint. So as you smoke it, it kind of improves the taste. Of course, you're getting all that resin. But that's why people pass the doobie and the blunt. That's why they save money, too. They save $750. But, oh, no, you go ahead. It'll save your lungs, How much is lung cancer or emphysema? That's got to be, it can't be cheap. Let's talk about war and the kind of wars that our government is just ignoring. Yeah, for years, our country has ignored wars going on in the background. Bless you, Sarah. There was an Arab massacre in Zanzibar in 1964. Right after Stanley Ann Dunham took her son, Barack Obama, out of this war-torn country. Right after that period, when she flew back to Hawaii and pretended like she had given birth to him there, the people of Zanzibar were slaughtered. Let me play you a little footage of this. Over 10,000 people were slaughtered, and this never made the press. An untold massacre. During 1964, a horrific event occurred in Zanzibar off the coast of Tanzania, where it appears that during the night, 5,000 Arabs were killed. 850 guns mysteriously appeared. An ethnic cleansing occurred. Okay, to avoid a conflict with Requiem for a Dream, which is the music that is from the movie Requiem for a Dream, Ellen Burstyn. Thank you, New York Viking. Great movie, by the way. If you want to find out the dangers of crystal methadone, watch Requiem for a Dream. It was just an amazing movie. But yeah, this happened within a few days. Over 10,000 Arab and Muslims were brutally slaughtered. And it happened January 18th, but it never ever got any teleplay. So kids killed, it didn't matter who was killed. The fact is, these types of slaughters go on without any questions asked. Look what happened at 9/11 in our own country. It happened in Zanzibar, Obama's home, where he was born. Yeah, our president was born in Kenya, formerly Zanzibar. You didn't know that? Okay. Well, this is the deal. If the globalist agenda is to control the mainstream media, and because we have an alternative view, we don't get any airtime at all, and they like to label me and peg me and call me names, and they've been doing that, thinking I'm somehow going to be afraid to run or something. I don't care. That is an error code, forbidden. Sorry, Shadow, that doesn't work. That link does not work. So we've had to actually build a coalition online of people and awaken people, and we've reached a lot of people who talk about us, and it's breaking through a little bit, but out of 322 million people, we've only reached maybe somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million people over the 7 years we've been broadcasting. It's not a good feeling to get swatted, Oasis. Yeah. It's a bad feeling. I'm still recovering from the shocking event. I'm still processing it. I'm a little concerned that this whole thing is being ignored. And I'm really, they recently found a swatter on Connecticut. But the unique thing about what we have is we have their actual voice prints. So when I get in a position where I can command the police to do what needs to be done in this matter, we will find every one of these perpetrators. A voice print is like a fingerprint. It's just as good. And with modern technology that analyzes voice prints, we should be able to hone in on this person where they live within about probably 2 or 3 hours once I'm president. Yeah, but right now the system is so bogged down with retardation and idiocy and sublime moronics, literally working bureaucratic jobs going, well, I don't know. I don't know where law enforcement is at right now. I'm a little bit miffed that they haven't called me or given me any updates. But hopefully they will. Hopefully we'll get some information. You just had to come over and introduce myself. I've been following your work for many years, and I'm a big fan. Great. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, thank you for introducing yourself. We do have a phone number to call in with some pertinent problems. If you ever want to reach us, you can call us at 707-YOUR-ATP. We take calls through the evening from 5 to 10. I'll try that picture.
Down below.
Okay. Oh, you like that little 38 Ruger DT? Yeah. Okay, this is a tiny pic of the record-setting giant tax pumpkin. Okay. Thanks. And it's got Hillary's face on it. That's pretty funny. Okay. Yeah, she's going to expand the government bureaucracy. And what's really shocking about Hillary? She thinks it's no big deal that we should get illegals to vote in this country. The Democrats think it's their right to have illegals vote in our country, which shows you that we need somebody a little bit more coherent and clear-minded than Donald Trump to battle Hillary. Because a lot of Democrats think like I used to think. Believe it or not, I understand the mindset of the Democrats. I was a Democrat for 30 years. So it's not like not like some new occurrence to hear some extremely socially inept Democrat like Hillary engage in such ridiculous statements like she wants illegals to vote. She's upset that in Alabama they're passing a law saying you cannot vote. Or you can vote if you're an illegal alien, but you can't vote if you're an illegal alien in Alabama. California, they're going to offer IDs to everybody through the EID program that'll offer possibilities of voting to illegal aliens. Well, yeah, it's a pink gun. You like that Ruger that she showed you?
Yeah.
Little 38?
I'm not a big pink person,
Not pink, yeah.
but the gun itself is okay.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to get a 38, why don't you get a revolver? Why are you getting a clip-driven 38? Most women don't want to load a clip. They just want to, or have a clip bounce back and recoil on them. I would consider a revolver, too, if you're going to get a 38. All right, it's nice. Okay, well, one of the problems with the those things is, you know, when you pull back on the chamber, it's hard for women to pull sometimes, but with the Ruger, it's pretty easy. Is that the SR-51? Oh, no, that's not. That's the 38. Okay, the SR-51's a little easier for pullback. Okay. It has to be a girly gun? Okay. Today we were out shopping, and our O'Reilly's in our neighborhood was having a clearance sale. And I got the big value for the day, closeout, 57 cents. And it comes with a microfiber thing for cleaning off LCD screens and a little container of cleaning fluid. Isn't that cool? Closeout special. O'Reilly's is moving down the street. They opened up another office, another retail outlet, and they're moving their entire store. I don't understand why they're doing it, but it must be costly to move a store. But they must see the benefit of having a higher profile or something. It's a cleaning fluid with a microfiber thing in it, so you can clean off any kind of a screen, like a touch screen. Pretty cool for 57 cents. 22 mag is good for defense. Well, that 38's got more stopping power. But ironically, a 22 Magnum is the choice of assassins. Assassins like it because they can shoot a bullet into somebody's head and it'll bounce around and scramble their brains. You know, we're not talking about hunting here, guys. We're talking about self-defense. Yeah. Well, a 50 caliber is a little too large, but I would recommend a 44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world. It'll blow your head clean off. I would never shoot anybody illegally entering my home unless they were a criminal and were putting me in mortal danger, or a hater attacking us and threatening us. When I see policemen, I feel almost an immediate sense of calmness comes over me. And I think everyone in the police force were amazed at how well I handled the situation. And I don't seem to get stressed out in high-stress situations. It's one of my unique talents. I don't know why that is, but every time things get really crazy, I start getting calmer. Oh, yeah. Well, let me say, I have experienced more than a home intrusion. Yeah. I've experienced violence firsthand all my life. Well, you know, like I told people last week, when I first moved up here, a guy pulled a shotgun on me and cranked it and held it on my head, right a foot from my head, and said he was going to blow my head off because I was following him too close, he said, on the highway. He was going 35 and a 50, and I passed him. I was like 10 feet behind his bumper, and so I signaled and passed him, and I thought nothing of it, and then he followed me into town, and he pulled a shotgun on me. If he shot me, do you think I'd be talking right now? You think I'd have a head to talk with? What the hell's wrong with you? That's just one of the many first-hand experiences I've had with violence in my life. I grew up in LA, Los Angeles, California, the city. My name's David, and I'm not a cop. 35 years in Los Angeles, I learned a lot about integration. I learned a lot about how to deal with your, gangs threatening you. When I was 10 years old, I went to the Forum with my Cub Scout, my We Below Cub Scout group. And like 20 kids, 2 counselors. Got to the game, went to the Laker game, got out, got in our bus, our little yellow bus, started to take off, and we were stopped by a marauding gang of black men. And they said, "Why do you get the hell out of Inglewood, man?" And they said they were going to kill us. And my counselors were freaking out. We Below, you were We Below? Good for you. My counselors were freaking out, and I said, well, let's just get out of here. Closed the door and just ripped out of there. But man, they didn't like us being in Inglewood because we were all white kids from Orange County. They didn't like that. They were pissed and threatening to kill us. You imagine 10-year-old kids threatening to kill 10-year-old kids going to a Laker game? I mean, that's just one of the many episodes in my life. You know, I'm not into, revealing what kind of weapons I carry. But that's kind of a provocative thing to do unless you're really, if you want to get into a fight, that's one way to do it. I was going to the forum. Are you tracking what I'm saying? Shall I repeat? Remember when I was 10 years old and I was at the forum? Come on. I don't want to have to repeat. It was wrong if I ask you. Don't ask me any more questions, man. I'm telling you, if I was open carrying, that would have turned into a violent situation. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at that gun that Shadow posted. Yeah. So why are you here talking about guns on a day of peace? This is a peace rally, and all you gun activists can do is talk about, yeah, Sarah, check out this gun. What is that, like an ancient repeater? Looked like the Luftwaffe. Is that the Luftwaffe? What kind of gun is that? Was ist los? I can tell you a lot of stories, Wasis, but we have a whole night ahead of us.
Wow.
What?
Here's a heartwarming story. 5 hours ago, this was posted by Christian Science Monitor.
Beluga.
An elderly vet fought an attacker at a public library.
Okay. Was this guy's name Ed by any chance? Or? Okay. Why is this taking forever to open? What's the deal with that?
I don't know.
Every time you want a story to open, it takes forever.
And you're like, oh.
It was a German Luger. I was completely aware of the origin of the Luger. Why is it you are showing us an old ancient Luger in the room? Was ist los?
It just loaded an empty page. That's very
Well, this is a trick. So I don't think we can really show that story. How an elderly vet saved 16...
I'll get it from the Southern.
Well, this guy looks like Mickey Rooney.
Okay.
Oh, well, we won't bring Ed up until Sarah leaves the room. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't want to bring your name.
An elderly veteran saved 16 children from a would-be knife-wielding killer.
Wow, let's play that story, yeah. Chess is best known as a cerebral game with enough time allotted before a well-thought-through move. Now, see how this is a mistake? Check this out. You're seeing computers make mistakes because a lot of these stories are written by computers. I want to show you.
Well thought through move is actually made. A well thought through.
Okay. Let's just read. Okay, forget the computer story. A well thought through move is actually made, but as a 75-year-old James Vernon of Morton, Illinois, has shown the world, sometimes cerebral, well thought through actions need to be put aside in favor of swift and decisive brute force. As reported by Fox,
so a guy named Dustin Brown admitted to fully intending to kill everyone until James Vernon intervened.
James Vernon intervened. It was at the quintessentially Midwestern small town of Morton, Illinois, that Vernon was volunteering his time with a group of homeschooled students attending a meeting of their chess club. Gathering in the conference room of the town's public library, Vernon was looking forward to coaching the 16 children, ranging in age from 7 to 13, in one of his favorite pastimes, until Brown, armed with a two-edged weapons that Vernon described as hunting types with fixed blades about 5 inches long, burst into the room. At approximately mid-afternoon, October 15th, it was then that Brown, who is currently out on bond for 22 counts of child pornography, entered the library. Seeing a mass of women and children in the conference room with a singular elderly male present, he considered the group an easy target. Vernon related regarding Brown, he actually ran into the room yelling, "I'm going to kill someone," with both hands on the knives taped down for a better grip. Vernon's army training from almost 5 decades ago firmly kicked in. You want to continue reading?
So basically, he tried talking to the kid. He said he tried to settle him down. he didn't settle him down, but he did deflect his attention from the kids, and he calmed him down a bit. He asked, "Are you from Morton? Do you go to high school? What's your problem?" He said his life sucks, and that's a quote. And then he spoke. As he spoke, he moved closer to the suspect. He backed away when he got closer, and so he put himself between the guy and the door, the only means of escape. And he gave them a cue to get the heck out of here, and so he like cornered the guy so that, he kind of gave the moms and the kids the signal, because they were there at the library to do a chess club, and so they got all out of there, and so then the guy was going to try to attack this older gentleman.
So what happened? Is there a story here that gets better?
He slashed at the older guy, who blocked the blade with his left hand. He says, "I should have hit his wrist. That's how you're trained." But it's been half a century.
Okay.
And he grabbed him through. Somehow he wound up on the table with the attacker's knife in his left hand pinned under his body.
Good.
He hit him on the right collarbone with his closed hand until Brown couldn't take the severe beating any longer. And he basically beat up the guy.
He saved all these children's lives.
He was bleeding pretty good. The Vernon, the older guy, kept the wannabe killer children held down until a library employee arrived to remove the knives and help keep him pinned down until officers and paramedics arrived. The hero suffered 2 arteries and a tendon.
Oh, he was slashed
in his
as well.
left hand, yeah.
Wow. Now Brown, this known pedophile, was held on $800,000 bond pending November 5th. Well, this kind of brings me to the.
According to an affidavit, he told police he'd been planning to kill people for 2 weeks. I can't read the rest. And then himself.
Oh, wow. So he was planning this crime for some time.
And he failed his mission to kill everyone.
He failed his mission to kill him. And thank goodness for this man
the older man.
Boy, training World War II. Yeah.
For the chess club.
He is a hero for sure.
The dude is a total hero.
Brown was ordered held on $800,000 bond pending a November 5th
There's
court
a video
hearing.
if you want to watch that.
You guys want to watch the video? What's the problem with giving this freakazoid any kind of time is we end up putting his picture on the screen. I don't want to do that.
I want to see if there's the older guy instead.
Hang on, we're over here. Okay.
Oh.
A 75-year-old Army veteran who fought off a knife-wielding man who was threatening to kill children at an Illinois library says training he received nearly 5 decades ago helped him in the scuffle. James Vernon was teaching a chess class.
And this person is reading off of a script. Now,
talk about a computer doing the whole thing.
I was accused earlier of not reading properly, and it is interesting to see how a computer does sometimes not read smoothly, like this particular computer is reading.
With 16 children at Morton Public Library when authorities say 19-year-old Dustin Brown entered the room with 2 knives.
I think you could have done a better job reading this script, Sarah.
I did do a better job reading this script.
Yes, you are better than the computer.
There's the hero. Good
There's
job.
a hero, everybody. You know, Mickey Rooney lives
Vernon.
on, man. James Vernon. Thank you, James. Army vet, 75 years old. Well, Sarah, this is a very exciting chat room.
People are starting to read it. Wake up. He wants us to read the books read the reviews on
I want to show you the book that he just brought in. I will show you the book right now, Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah, for this book. Fight. It is so nice to have an automatic chat reader so that we can continue to bring good, interesting stories to all of you on a daily basis.
Wait, let me scroll down.
The hair is not pumpkin color. You are clearly wrong.
Let go.
I have let go. Continue reading about this inspirational book, which gives people hope for some change in a typically robotic and controlled media dominated by powerful moneyed interests. It is so nice. He did look like a sane Rod Steiger. I was going to say, he was not Mickey Rooney, he was Rod Steiger. As opposed to an insane Rod Steiger who suffered from chronic depression and ended up dying.
Saying to read the reviews, and
I don't know, where's the story?
It's truly sad to see this. Nobody died at Sandy Hook. People say crisis actor.
Oh, there you go.
Pure propaganda literature.
Let me close in on this. Hang on.
Propaganda.
Look at the kind of comments, folks. In this, this is the interesting stuff. Yeah, fiction, not real. Wake up, people. Sandy Hook was a staged event. 100% pure propaganda literature, all this stuff coming in from people. The popular sentiment, folks, is we are waking up. And we, as a political movement, have been discussing this from the get-go. I fought. Beekman would like me to do an imitation of Diane Reams of NPR Radio. If you ever listen to NPR Radio at night, this woman is like a fixture. And she can't lose her job. She's got seniority and tenure, and people still feel sorry for her. But she's on the phone interviewing people, and this is like prime time for NPR radio, right? Everybody's listening to it going to bed, and they're listening to Diane Reams talk about an important issue. I can't get a job like that. They won't hire me. I know. I get stressed listening to her, too. You know, I don't use Just for Men. I use Just for small botanicals. I use a product called I don't know the name of it offhand, but I showed you one day on screen, and it is a plant conditioner, plant-based protein conditioner that uses plant coloring. And yeah, sometimes I leave it in my hair a little long because I want to get that vitality, that look of youth that so many people crave. I'm 55 years old, and I don't want to look like some John Kerry old guy, or Barack Obama old guy. But I refuse to use unnatural, toxic chemicals.
Nearly 2 million families could be affected by the typhoon that's hitting the Philippines.
This is huge, folks. The Philippine typhoon is going to be desperation city.
It's the largest one to happen in a number of years.
Thank you. I will be your good president. Just because I'm wearing a purple tie does not make me a bad guy. Got a nice paisley print. I kept the purple color because I thought this was purple is peaceful. They don't love Trump. They're just so pissed off that their country's been ransacked by illegal aliens that they're willing to ignore the fact that this fat corporate pig who wants more money is running. Because he's the guy that came into our rooms 3 years ago and took all my ideas. And I don't have the money to get the mainstream media attention, and you should be really, looking at yourself to solve this problem, because we can't solve it. The American people don't have any representation, and they don't have any kind of lobbying group in government. They are not getting representation from their leaders. 90% of the population distrusts government in general. 58% says that government is completely corrupt. These are the polls that people are getting. No, none of the other candidates even get remotely near me in terms of ideas. I am the quintessential best person for the country right now. And I'm not bragging, I'm actually complaining. I wish there were more people with my intelligence and great ideas. Sarah and I have been working on our policies together, so I share all of our ideas with her. And she and I really are sitting on the secret to America's new growth. Hybrid capitalism. A concept we created where the government gets a return on investment, doesn't grow, actually downsizes, but gets a zero deficit and maintains growth simply by producing products again. The key to production and labor is production. And it's also one of the integral factors in saving our nation is conservation. So we need to get production, conservation going, and we haven't seen any under Obama or under Bush. I don't believe windmills on top of telephone lines is the secret. It's just one of the many components to brand new ways of saving money and getting energy and electricity, and also return on investment. Look, at anybody making comments about DT in our room will be banned. Do not attack our supporters. And I'm not Jewish.
So the U.S. is going to force drone owners to register their devices soon, according to a report, and this is according to an article from Mashable.com.
Sheriff John, oh yeah, they're going to push for drones?
So basically,
Yeah,
there's
a
general
registry.
rules governing the use of commercial and non-commercial drones. They're still in flux, but basically, one major rule is reportedly set to be enacted soon, which is legal registration, much in the way you might register an automobile. The Department of Transportation is set to lay down rules that require all drone owners to register their devices with the government.
Okay, many of you don't understand. Somebody said, "How I didn't see you in the recent presidential debate, Dave, Jet." Yeah, you don't realize, I've been trying to explain this to you, but we are living in a pre-Nazi state. Censorship is everywhere.
The debates that recently happened, one was by the Democratic Party, one was by the Republican Party. David's neither Democrat or Republican, which is why he was not in either of those debates.
And the Commission on Public Debating will not allow a third party unless you guys can get 5% of the vote going my way.
Get him in the polls. Whenever someone calls you to ask you a poll about politics, just keep saying David John Sponheim. David Sponheim.
Yeah, David Sponheim. Sponheim. Yeah,
Sponheim.
it's time for Sponheim.
Sponheim.
It's time for Sponheim.
That's it.
Yeah. Are you not able to understand that, Jet? The fact is, drones obviously are going to be part of our life, and I don't want surveillance drones. I want delivery drones. You can call it pre-corporate fascist, whatever you want to call it. It is pre-Nazi. And this nation is definitely run by what appears to be a group of Nazis. The thing is, folks, many of you don't realize this, but during the 1940s, after World War II, we beat the Germans. We beat the Japanese. The Japanese launched a 100-year war against the U.S., and there's a book called The 100-Year War, and it's an economic war. They just want to do well. They want to profit. They want to succeed. The Japanese people are very, very prideful people, and they want to succeed. They didn't want to destroy us. They just wanted to show what great inventors they are, and they did. And they're still leading in robotics. I don't get any money from anybody, and stop lying about me. I don't work for Saudi Arabia, you freak. And Japanese don't like China, no. But the fact of the matter is, we beat the Japanese, we beat the Germans, but we did not beat the Nazis. And during the 1940s, the Nazis moved over here in the U.S. with the Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip was a government program sponsored by the CIA to bring Nazis into the loop. Now that has contaminated our internal government and left us with a very paperclip, that's right. It's left us with a very, very shadowy internal cabal that makes the decisions this country is engaged in, which is leading to war, leading to the destruction of our environment, leading to the endless printing of money, because this is how they're financing it. They don't earn that money, mind you. They're able to print it up out of thin air. How would it be great if I gave you a credit card and said, hey, there's no low limit on it, just start spending and never stop? Well, that's essentially what has been done. And these people, every time they print money, they dilute it in our pockets. Our dollars become worth less and less because there's more money in circulation. Thank you.
Oh, yes, I know, Bigman, that there was a high school student who had added guns to a...
This is the video that caught federal investigators' attention. Police say 18-year-old Austin Howitt of Clinton, Connecticut is the mastermind behind this homemade gun-mounted drone. The video, posted to YouTube, gained more than 1.7 million views. One person writing, quote, "Strange and a scary thought for someone to be using a drone to carry a firing gun." Police say Howitt opened fire on his private property, and that's not illegal if done safely. Police have no evidence anyone's life was in danger. The FAA is now investigating whether he violated the agency's rules.
There are countless ways that drones can be useful. Using one as a remote-controlled weapon is not one of them.
This comes after a man crashed a drone on the White House lawn earlier this year. In the end, prosecutors did not pursue charges. From his online postings,
All right, I'm not going to give this kid any kind of time here on the show. I don't want to give anybody... I'm sure the government's offering him a job designing drones now. But seriously, mastermind, exaggeration, whatever. Bottom line is, I seriously don't think drones should be used for surveillance, let alone mounted guns. So we need to get some serious legislation drafted, and I'm surprised that the Republicans haven't stepped up. What really shocked me was Rand Paul supports the buildup of drones. He actually signed on to this whole idea of 30,000 drones by 2020. Obama put it out there. He's just basically a spokesman for the corporate structure. I can tell you, I will never be a spokesman for the corporate structure. I will always be thinking of America and the people of this country at heart. I will never abandon what really matters, because those people with money, they can throw all the money they want at somebody like me and it won't make any difference at all. I realize that my days on this earth are short if I continue pursuing the presidency. I'm not doing this for personal gain. I'm not doing this to pad my pocket or leave some legacy to my children like Donald Trump wants to do. I'm actually doing this because I'm desperate to help this nation before it's too late to help.
Yeah, they praise a kid who basically took apart a clock and put it in a suitcase, and they criticize a kid who put a gun on a drone.
Right, a Muslim who goes out and he takes a Radio Shack kit, and they claim he engineered a clock, which is not true. It's just a Radio Shack kit. He stuck it in a briefcase. I mean, who would have done that? He brings a ticking item out there, and the police want to, immediately arrest the guy, and then they're claimed with brutality because they were doing what protocol calls for, stopping a potential bomb from going off. I mean, the whole thing, what the Democrats painted it out as is like race baiting, like ethnic attack on poor Muslim children who working on a clock and in their spare time should never be. Clockmed Mohammed. When the police followed proper protocol in that matter. But in this matter, oh no, yeah. They'll probably give this guy a job working on drone technology. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt he gets a job working for the FBI. There was a kid in Tacoma, Washington about 7 years ago that was caught making ricin in his garage. He was this little genius, chemistry genius. He was making ricin in his garage. They arrested him, and then they said that they were going to work out a deal with him where he could work back his time. They immediately had him working in the chemical labs at the weapons production centers. Okay. My clothes are awesome, but to criticize my clothes is a denigrating statement, and I'm going to purge you for this. I worked very hard to look good, even though I'm not a wealthy guy. I consider this Van Heusen fairly new, and I'll wear it and wash it and wear it every day for the next 6 years. And you'll still go, wow, Dave, you need to buy some new clothes. And it doesn't matter to me, because frankly, I really am here for you, not to waste money or spend all my life worrying about a better, nicer shirt like Donald Trump might worry about. We need to rake him over the coals metaphorically, because what Donald Trump is up to is absolutely bizarre. He actually wants to do a hijacking of the GOP using my ideas, which he stole from me 3 years ago. He came in our room on Ustream. And then he wants to proceed to pretend like these are his ideas. And then he wants to raid the Democratic, or basically push people over to the Democratic Party to Hillary Clinton by being such a jerk. I think Donald Trump is a shill for Hillary. I believe that he's been put in the race to destroy the GOP, to kill all Latino votes for the Republicans, all women votes for Republicans. Anybody who's a lesbian is never going to vote for the Republicans. And he seriously wants to push people to drive them toward this nonsensical idiot Hillary, who won't even talk about anything, especially Benghazi. Okay, we're going to ban you from the show. Anybody speaking highly of Trump doesn't realize what a corporate pig he is and how he's using his money to control politics. What really disturbs me about the people that come in and brag about this numbskull, this idiot who stole my ideas and is running with them as if they're his own, And he doesn't even get my ideas right. He's now polarizing the nation and driving votes toward Hillary, which is the worst thing we could possibly see. Do you know that Donald Trump supported Hillary Clinton and has on record supported her election? Well, that's the question everybody's asking, but the real question is, why don't I get any mainstream media attention? Why don't I get any time at all to talk on the issues? That's the real question here. Thank you.
I'm glad you have this show.
No, I'm not a moron. I'm a tested genius with 185 IQ. So for you to claim I'm a moron shows me that you're an absolute imbecile. And we could get into a name-calling contest, which is what Democrats engage in all the time. Anytime you disagree with a Democrat on any issue, they call you a name. Oh, you're a birther. Oh, you're a truther. Oh, you're one of those whack jobs. They don't talk about the issues. They just call you names. All right, I'm going to step out.
Okay. I was just reading about the Oregon shooting and a couple of survivors from the Oregon shooting that happened in Roseburg, Oregon. And one was about Chris Mintz. I believe his name's Chris. Chris Mintz is a guy that was shot 5 times by the person in Oregon. And so he said, hey, if you think it's a false flag, come to Roseburg and you can talk to him. Fortunately, he lived after being it's an unbelievable story. I would say it's a very horrific thing that happened in Oregon. What the heck? What are you talking about? Let me just... Oh, crap. I hate this thing. Why does he do that to me? Okay. Alright. Got all that. I'm going to purge some of you. Actually, I'll just ban you. Ban you. And anyone else I could ban, I will. Alright. But it was, hopefully they were just referring to, I was talking about the Oregon shooting, and I was reading an LA Times article on Chris Mintz. He wrote on a Facebook post. Thank you. So, Sheriff, you believe that drones are good? Okay. That's pretty good. I don't have a problem with delivery drones. I do have a problem, like David said, with drones sometimes that are used for monitoring. That can be an issue for sure. And then, of course, drones should not be used for... Drones should be used... I would say drones should be used for surveillance, only not for deploying weaponry. Yeah, I guess everyone wouldn't feel good if they felt people were spying on them. You don't think they will ever have delivery drones like Amazon was going to create? I think that the whole Amazon was going to create those delivery drones because I think they could have had that done, except the regulations changed so that they have to be within viewable range of their remote control person. So that's kind of ridiculous, I think. Oh, you think people would steal the delivery drones? Fair point, well made. I would say that's a possibility, but they could just make another one. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm gonna remove this. You could see me in the White House. Maybe someday I'll be in the actual White House and not just with a green screen behind me. No, I cannot really imagine an army of drones attacking a public place. Hello, Busy. How are you? It would be a scary thought, yes. But I imagine good things. Like I did see, I went to a concert about a year and a half ago, a little bit less than a year ago. So it was Labor Day weekend, not this past one, but the one before. And at the concert, there were drones, camera drones, to record the bands. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And so I didn't feel unsafe. I think that, that's kind of a way that drones can be used to promote goodness. I always believe in promoting goodness and good feelings for all. What is your problem? Do you have a problem? I don't think we have that many problems at our core. I think we have goodness at our core. Yep, drones now do all the high aerial footage on television. Yep. It's pretty cool to have, actually I just saw this, speaking of drones, two things. One, I just read an article that the U.S. may be forcing drone owners to register their drones, much like people register cars. They might be doing that pretty soon. But then I also saw this TED Talk on drones being used in natural disaster, well, not just natural disasters, but disaster response, emergency response during disasters, because they can quickly and much more easily and efficiently get into looking at a system, looking into an area after a natural disaster than anything else can.
Cool.
So I think that's a very good use of drones.
Excellent. Yeah, drones can deliver packages to your house with Amazon and Google developing drone technology. So we're entering a new age where technology is great. Unfortunately, rich people are using it to brainwash people using high technology. Let me show you something that'll blow your mind.
Go ahead and type in shadow if you have a question for David. By the way, today is October 17th, 2015, 7:32 p.m.
Okay. I'm going to show you something right now that'll kind of like shock you. What we're going to show you behind me is a picture of reporters that are being blasted with RF frequencies. Watch this, it'll blow your mind. 6 news reporters caught speaking gibberish. Notice their reaction when that's exactly what you're going to see.
Crazy. No, you're not crazy anyway.
It is crazy.
The Janesville Gazette. Thanks, Marco. Well, Wisconsin has officially joined 25 other states in a lawsuit against President Obama's health care reform law. Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen says Wisconsin is the latest state, including Iowa, Kansas, Maine, Ohio, and Wyoming, to join Florida's suit. The states claiming the exorcist saw unto Sracho and Play Bringritz by health urgent. Van Hollen says Wisconsin is the latest state, including Iowa, Kansas, Maine, Ohio, and Wyoming, to join Florida's suit. The states claiming the exorcist saw unto Sracho and Play Bringritz by health urgent.
Okay, anybody who shows support for Trump in our show will be banned. And I banned Censored because he's trying to pretend like I'm banning anybody just because they're coming in the room. No, I banned you because you make an issue of me banning people that support Trump. You know, you're out of here. So we censored because, frankly, we're all being censored. I'm being censored every day in the mainstream media. They're never going to give me any time whatsoever. I unfortunately have to define what a good show is and what a good show isn't. Scissor Fight has a response that he thinks makes Hillary Clinton look and act like a potential robot. Now, Hillary Clinton has gone on record recently claiming she is a robot. Just when you thought it could get any weirder, here she is.
Said that, quote, the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails. But there are a lot of people who are not.
Well,
including FBI officials looking into whether national security was compromised because of this server. And this is something else that is very confusing to me.
Yeah, she's laughing.
I know Bernie Sanders said that, quote, the American people are sick and tired of hearing about your damn emails. But there are a lot of people who are not.
She does kind of look like a robot. She's smiling, laughing, and Chris Stevens is dead. It's a nervous laugh. And everything about her is phony. Phony. She's phony to the core. Magic stick. Get one. Get on the board and start to laugh. Take it higher. Yeah. Me higher. I'm not laughing, folks. I'm pissed off. We need to get this woman to answer the question. Why did you get rid of all your emails? And I'm not sick and tired of hearing about it. I'm sick and tired of hearing about her. And the corporate pigs that want to make her a president. We don't need another gimmick president. You know, I would love to see a woman someday become president. But now is not the time. The time is now for our country to gain economic strength, common unity among our nation, for the left and the right to unite somewhere in the center. Not a time to polarize with a leftist president like Hillary, or a right-wing, seemingly ethnic cleansing autocrat like Donald Trump. That's right. David, I'm vividly imagining you loosening your tie. Hey, you know, I don't want you to do that. So just privately do that. Okay, thanks. Shine on me, drive on me, take the sign on me. So we do support legalization of marijuana. Yeah. Unlike the Republicans and the Democrats, you know, Jeb Bush has smoked marijuana most of his adult life, according to Rand Paul. I don't know. I'm not Jeb Bush and I'm not Rand Paul, but I can tell you that I'm not a hypocrite like Barack Obama, and I got to tell you, if we don't legalize pot, our country is going to suffer economically. Now, you remember when Barack Obama had this online town hall meeting, the one and only that he did because he couldn't handle the heat? I've done I would say 2,000 online town hall meetings every night. He couldn't handle one. And the number one question the American people ask, and many of you people remember this time, I can tell you is, do you think marijuana will help the economy? And his resounding answer was ludicrous. Well, make no mistake about it. I don't believe it'll help improve the economy. Well, look at, man, I mean, why would we, all of us who do smoke, not want to help our government out with a little tax? I mean, hello? How would it be bad to get rid of the DEA's interdiction, which costs this nation $26 billion a year, to stop marijuana growers? And why would we burn crops that could be sold internationally? I mean, the whole thing's absurd. Free the weed. Thank you. Okay, let's take a look at that clip from, well, can I play just not Jon Stewart, just the picture with Hillary in it? Because I don't really like Jon Stewart. Okay, there we go.
That look is where boners go to die.
That's pretty funny. The look where boners go to die. Thank you for sharing. Many of you are suffering from erectile dysfunction. You don't know why. A lot of you guys are a little bit shameful to tell, your wife that, honey, I just don't feel like it tonight. Well, believe it or not, one of the constant reminders of pollution in the air is erectile dysfunction. One of the constant reminders of the spraying of lithium in our atmosphere is erectile dysfunction. One of the reminders is the integration of big pharma and the synergy of bad drugs, forcing you to have to take Cialis or Viagra. That's a new drug, Cialis. Ooh. I wouldn't doubt they'll come up sometime soon, the Cialis drug. But so seriously, I mean, many people are suffering from all kinds of physical maladies as a result of contamination in the environment. So one of the things I'm going to focus on, and the two parties will not even address this issue, is I'm going to end chemtrails. That's right. This thing that's going on in the atmosphere that many of you say is not really a real chemtrail, it's a contrail. Whatever it is, I'm going to end it. Okay? I don't care what I have to do. End chemtrails. I'm going to end fluoride in water and sodas and everything else. I'm going to end the use of GMOs in our society. Any reckless use of GMOs has got to stop. I'm going to get us out of war. I'm going to bring our troops home. These are things that Donald Trump doesn't want to do. These are things that Hillary Clinton doesn't want to do. And I'm going to build a 1,000-mile fence, which is my idea, not Donald Trump's, along the border. So let's get this rolling. I mean, I've got a lot of things I'm going to be doing that they're not going to be doing. But this is one way to get it started, and that's to talk about it. All right, cool. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Thank you. So you can read that while I talk. I'm fine, Rodney. How are you? How's the investigation going? Okay. You got my vote. Thank you, Master Jesus. She. Yeah, farting is a result of drinking too much coffee. You're right. Now, according to Giraffe Brain, he said Lamar Odom took over-the-counter 72 horsepower herbal Viagra like pills. Wow. I had no idea this guy was over the deep edge. He was, this rock star mentality a lot of basketball players are engaged in. No, I like the White House, thank you. I would live in the White House. It'd be beautiful. Thank you. Some of you can read a little faster, so I'll speed it up for you. Now, building the fence along the border is actually a plan that involves using prison labor that are currently in prison. A lot of them are illegal aliens that are spending time for various crimes. Barack Obama is releasing them in our cities right now, which is not exactly the smartest thing to do. But yeah, these guys are definitely a danger. And as much as I'd like to say, oh yeah, that's nice, it's not. In fact, they pose a huge risk to our nation if they're put into our country after getting out of jail. So instead of sending them home, Barack Obama is just going to basically do everything he can to put them in our face. Now, this is part of a plan his handlers want to weaken the country with. By allowing illegal aliens to just come into our country and then become prisoners, we're not making any good use of the situation. I support decriminalization for prostitution, making it available so that any prostitute could get an STD test, no big deal. Thank you, Master Jesus. Reminds me of that saying from Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce was one of the greatest comedians of our time. Many of you don't even know who I'm talking about. But Lenny Bruce was before my time, too. But I have speeches of his and comedy, and he was just hilarious. He was like a George Carlin on steroids. And he was the first guy to use bad words on camera for comedy. But more than that, he talked about the establishment and how they literally are corrupt thugs. And he ended up dying, Lenny Bruce did. But one of the things he did was a movie. And the movie was about a masked madman. And throughout the movie, he talked about, thank you, masked madman. Thank you, masked madman. It was the funniest thing. Thank you, masked madman. Okay, Dave, the no man's land inside the border fence would be a great place to test the new drone technology. Absolutely, yeah. I would agree with the drone technology. I'm not against technology, 747. But I don't want to see it used against the people of this country, domestically. I want laws in place to prevent domestic surveillance. I don't want commercial surveillance, private detectives being paid by your wife to go bother you looking in the window of the bathroom at the motel room you are with your... If you're going to cheat on your wife, it's going to be between you and her. And it's going to be some illegal battle that you're going to have to fight later. It shouldn't be, violation of privacy. Not that I endorse cheating on your wife, I don't. I like George Carlin. I love the work that he did. One of the last videos he did before he died was a complete reveal of the real corruption in our country. And he pretty much laid it on the line. I mean, we have no power. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for coming in. We certainly expect your intelligence to kind of lend itself to a better show. No, we're going to actually talk to Putin. Now, unlike Donald Trump, who wants to support Putin, and I didn't know Donald Trump was a communist, but hey, that's interesting. I want to actually open a dialogue, and I will have a summit meeting with Putin, at least an internet summit meeting on a telepresence system where we can talk. I'm going to keep the dialogue open, and I'm going to make sure that he knows that we don't want to invade Syria. And I'll be doing everything I can to pull back from Syria. I have no idea on the police involvement. They stopped a swatter on the East Coast 2 days ago. They got him in jail now. He's in prison. So they got one of the guys on the East Coast. We don't know if local law enforcement has actually caught the guy that did us. Okay, read it. All right. The atheism is a religion. Yeah, I've been saying that for years. Thank you. Thank you, DT Laura. Yeah, atheism is a religion. And by no stretch of the imagination, anybody running around telling other people that they don't believe in God and wanting support and having camaraderie in their non-belief is no different than any religion, really, in some ways. I agree. Let's dialogue. Well, there's no way we can have a dialogue, Rodney. Unfortunately, you kind of blew it with us when you continued after 70 different chances of not denigrating the show to denigrate our show. So I can't have you on any kind of a conversation anytime in the future. You're done. Yeah, it's over. I don't believe there is any video of being forced to the gravel, but I wasn't forced to the gravel. You understand, I got down on my stomach, put my hands behind my back, because that's what they told me to do. And they cuffed me. And I've never done a damn thing in my life against the law. It's very traumatic. They do say terrible things, and you're one of them. Yeah, so you can run around proselytizing like the amazing atheist who has all these views, these ridiculous YouTube videos. Why do you think the amazing atheist is so popular on YouTube? Because the government wants him to be popular on YouTube. We, on the other hand, had all of our hit counters shut down in 2011. I was getting 20,000 hits a week in 2011. You can see them. They're still out there. They stopped. All my hit counters stopped. So the amazing atheists, they want to encourage because they don't want people to have any belief or faith in a higher power. There you go. George Carlin dispenses a real pill of wisdom, and then he dies of cancer. Bill Hicks? Well, no, Bill Hicks isn't dead. Yeah, you didn't get the memo? This is the George Carlin video that is perhaps the best 3 minutes in video history. Let me just give you a snippet of it.
But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks. And it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'll play that whole video and clip after the show. Yeah. Yeah, he really, man, he just laid it out on the line. He was so good. We're blessed to have George Carlin, flat out. And I'm glad we have good video of him. Like I said, I support legalization only so far as decriminalization of prostitution. I'm not going to send a message to young people around America that they should become prostitutes. That's a terrible message to send. But decriminalization, making it available for prostitutes to make sure that they can get STD checks and not worry about getting arrested, and the lowering the arrest layers that are out there of the Johns and all the wasted money on policing. In our area, they gave the cops $150 to go to strip clubs just to get lap dances every night. Yes, and that's, in my mind, that's ridiculous. They were literally entrapping women. They held a ruler out. If they get too close, by law, they arrest the woman who's lap dancing. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Some pervert sitting there going, "Hey, baby, how you doing, man?" A full-on cop pervert going, "Yeah, yeah," and then thrusting their body closer and closer and say, "Oh, you're arrested." And what a joke. You know, I don't really, have any comments to make about Carlin and his drugs. If you want to talk about something, let's talk about the late Hunter S. Thompson, who's quoted as saying, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. Hunter S. Thompson died a very mysterious death. And I often wondered why he got his entire funeral paid for by Johnny Depp. I thought that was kind of strange. Yeah, I'm trying to move beyond Carlin. Yeah, Hunter S. Thompson made some comments. That were just priceless, Okay. I'm an entertainer, comedian in chief. Thank you. Well, I am, as you know. Let's talk about David Carradine, yeah. Well, why do you think Johnny Depp has a mountain of shekels to spend? Guess 747? I mean, hello? I mean, there's an ample room for imagination here. Do you really believe that famous people are famous because they're just really talented? Do you think John Travolta is famous because he's just a really talented guy? Well, there was a situation that happened with, I'll change the subject from David Carradine and Johnny Depp to now John Travolta. There was a story about John Travolta that propagated in 2010. And I don't know if any of you heard this, but he went to a masseuse. And the masseuse alleged in a court case that was settled out of court right away, by the way, alleged that John Travolta had in fact asked him for oral sex. That was an alleged statement by the masseuse. Okay? And he had said to the masseuse, and this is a direct quote from the masseuse at the time, that that's how you get ahead in Hollywood, by performing oral sex on rich Jewish guys. Now that's what the statement was. That's what hit the news. The next day the statement was gone, the news was gone, the story was dead. There was never a story after that. And we know that things like these things get pushed into the background because these people have a tremendous amount of power. I don't have a problem with John Travolta being gay. If he is in fact gay, I don't know. But I can tell you that, pictures tell 1,000 words. And if you don't want to understand the real backbone of Hollywood and Johnny Depp having all this power and this money and all these people that make tons of money, you don't understand the Illuminati and the powers that make or break people in Hollywood. Now, I got a taste of it when I was in Hollywood, when I tried to work in TV production. And I was absolutely blacklisted because I didn't do cocaine. And it's a strange and weird world we live in, that these people, they actually think that if, it's a dividing line. Either you do coke or you don't. And if you don't work in most of the Hollywood production houses that are out there. I'm just telling you, that's how it is on the street. How people have to either get by or they get, So this cocaine is really the entrance into a world of degradation, which probably leads to every number of things that John Travolta was probably allegedly talking to the masseuse about. Of course I turned down cocaine. Why would I take cocaine and ruin my life? Don't you realize that's a gateway drug to debauchery? I've met people in my life that were making $150,000 a year and doing $150,000 a year up their nose. It ruins lives, evil enmity. You'll talk yourself into saying, oh no, I can manage it, sure, recreational highs, etc. Me and my girlfriend, we do it because it helps our sex life, or some ridiculous statement like that. Thank you. Are you talking about religions now? I just brought up this amorphous word Illuminati. I don't know anybody particularly, and no specifics. I have no idea who is in the Illuminati. I'm just using it as a metaphor, okay? Thank you. The people that run the world. Let's just leave it as, we'll call them whatever. Oh yeah, dude, well, how do you think they're so successful? I've met a lot of coke addicts that are incredibly successful and they're dealing drugs. But I'm not a coke user, and I would never deal drugs, and I would never engage in that behavior. So I was blacklisted, literally, by the very thing that we're talking about, the secret cabal. And it starts at very small areas in Hollywood, little enclaves. One of my producers at one of the companies I worked with said, today is an incredible day. And it was really pretty. You could look out the windows in Hollywood and see the San Gabriel Mountains. It was crystal clear. One of those days that you would never, ever see normally. I said, wow, well, what do you want to do? Go take a hike or something? And he said, no, he wanted to get a gram of cocaine and snort it up right there. That's what he said. So we're talking about debauchery, almost decadence beyond belief. And these are the people that are making the movies that your kids are watching. And I'm sure that entire cocaine world has spread deep into the heart of video gaming. I used to meet people that used to write code for big companies like Microsoft back in the early days, in like the early 80s. I knew these guys. And, I just met them casually, and man, they were high. I could tell. And I said, I really don't want to hang out with you guys. But had I hung out with those guys, I'd probably be making six figures just, talking on the phone. That's not my thing. I don't care about the money, and I certainly don't want a gateway of cocaine to take this country down the tubes. All right. I don't have any history of that. Mr. Anderson, I see we have a visitor from our from the old world. There they are. Because I don't have any dark eyebrows, I have to get my sunglasses to cover it. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Welcome to the next dimension. What we're about to embark upon is perhaps a unique opportunity to start what no other nation has been able to pull off successfully, well, with the exception of Britain maybe, the possibility of a third party. That's something that really, really has never happened in America. Since the 1800s, our nation has been developing what I believe is the consciousness for a third party. Now, I'm certainly not the first person to run as a third party candidate. In 1878, the Greenback Party started. I don't have a communist past. My family fought communism in the 1950s. I may be ahead of the time, but I'll tell you, the time is catching up real fast, folks, and you need to really step on board. I was told in Hollywood that my voice talent was top-notch, that I could easily make millions of dollars a year as a voiceover artist. I was told that. And then they pushed a mirror of cocaine in front of me. and said, hey, could you stay up till 4 in the morning and finish these lines? And they didn't mean the lines I was reading. Seriously. Okay, I'm not the first guy, guys. This has been going on for a long time, okay? Hendrik B. Wright started a third party in 1878, the Greenback Party. And this guy, he definitely ran for office. So it's been going on for some time. In that year, he got 13% of the vote. In 1996, Ross Perot got 19% of the vote. So in 110 years, we picked up a good 6%. But it's moving faster now. And we could get 34% of the vote and win an election. That's what it's turning out to be. And if we can push this Donald Trump freak to the right, where he's going to end up being anyway, he's a right-wing extremist. I can tell you that the people of this country are ready to break ranks with this tyrannical Clinton family that is engaged in unbelievable atrocities across the board and covered it all up. That's right. So this third party is just not a new phenomenon, folks. This is something that dates back a long, long time. Yeah. So don't think for a second that I'm just the first guy out there. I'm a long line of guys promoting this. Now, just because I could easily be this guy. No question about it. I could be the reincarnation of this guy for all I know. We need to start a third party. We need to establish a backing for our dollar so that these bankers don't take over. You get my drift? Yeah. Do you still have your brown hair, Dave? I don't have brown hair. I have blonde hair. All right? Yes. So this is a long-standing event, folks. You guys are part of a big deal. Countless people have been trying to wake up the majority of the country, and slowly it's working. It's slowly working. You see it every day in our chat room. And you see all the things that are going on in front of us right now, ending chemtrails, ending fluoride in water, etc., etc. All of these are things that the two parties won't even talk about. There is no evidence that fluoride is beneficial when it comes to drinking it. There's no evidence at all, no studies done of water with fluoride in it preventing cavities. Nothing. Not a stitch of scientific proof. However, there is scientific proof that fluoride dumbs down the American people. Spraying lithium in the air above Oregon, which is going on right now with chemtrails, is causing people to be complacent, and it affects their libido. They no longer want to have sex. I'm serious. Are you suffering from that problem? You don't have to be honest. The rainbow in the back makes me look gay. All right, well, I'm not gay. And I'm not John Travolta either. And you too. And may you continually do yourself in every night that you do yourself. We're in the void right now. It's in the dark side, baby. I love Pink Floyd. It got me through some tough times. Unlike John Travolta, I'm not gay. Dave still has his chat bar on. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know, 949. I mean, if somebody gets on my jet, I would say that they should get off. Get off my ride. I would never, ever do cocaine. I would certainly not be a... It's just sick. The whole concept is disgusting. Yeah. I'm an old-fashioned American, to be honest. And I've never really understood why so many people are digging deep into the Trevor trough of evil. But some people want to experiment with evil, and I guess that's something they enjoy. I don't get into it. It's wrong. You need to have a righteous life if you want to live a good life. You think I would have ever found a woman as beautiful as Sarah in my life if I was evil and corrupt? You know, think about it. No, you're the homophobe. Yeah, you're the one who's decided to become the abnormal one. If you didn't know that homosexuality is abnormal, you realize that, right? You're not in the norm. 95% of the country is heterosexual.
But it's okay to not be normal.
But it's okay to not be normal. You can be abnormal. It's okay. I'm not going to discriminate against you, but, you know, frankly, I don't really think we need to cater to the transgender agenda like the Democrats are doing. You know that Barack Obama announced that he's going to give 12,000 military personnel sex change operations? And right after that, he appointed a homosexual in charge of the army? Are you aware of this? This happened in the past 2 weeks. You know that? Any of you know that? 12,000 transgenders are going to get free operations at a cost of $1 billion taxpayer. Not even Chaz Bono can get an operation. He can't afford it. I mean, his mother's suffering from ailments, and I mean, he had to give his or her a kidney to his mom. I mean, the whole thing is crazy. And he can't even afford him or her to be appointed. You know, they do something with flesh, and I don't know how it works for lesbians to be converted over, but there's apparently 2 different types of operations that they can use, and both of them are kind of expensive. So Chaz is having to find some way of financing it. I don't know how he's going to do it. You notice I'm not referring to her as him. Chastity left the female role and became a male when she became Chaz. And we're supposed to honor that. That's right. That's what the tabloids are saying, Katerina. I can't verify this. I don't know Cher. Well, yeah, I met Cher. What am I saying? I met Cher. She came up to me with Michael York and talked for about 10 minutes. What am I saying? I sold them some really cool old Rolling Stone magazines. I remember that day. Cher came in, Michael York came in, and it was like, whoa, I know who you are. And they knew that, you know, of course, everyone knows who they are. And we just had a great, it was like really upbeat and fun. I felt like I was in a movie. In fact, my whole life I felt like I've been in a movie. Is that weird? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do people normally feel like they're in a movie?
I only feel like I'm in a movie when I'm around you.
Well, that's because I'm in a movie. She feels like that when she's around me. You see, the world is a stage.
I don't feel like I'm in a movie when I'm not around you.
Well, I mean, we've got some concern here. We've got the missiles in Iran to talk about, the missile structures that they're building. We talked about this earlier. Apparently there's underground missiles that they've got constructed in Iran. Now, this came on the heels of Barack Obama pushing for an agreement with Iran to not create missiles and nuclear weapons. So what did they do? Immediately after getting the deal to go through $155 billion, Iran releases information that ultimately will give them the capability of nuclear weaponry. It's a very sad thing. Yeah. So I think the entire Iranian agreement needs to be stopped. You're watching Z-Space. I still have this queued up from the other day.
That's so cool, isn't it?
Do you want to show everybody what it is? This is something Sarah tuned into this week. And
I was one of those people moving the thing around.
Yeah.
It has a little stylus with 3 little buttons on it.
Can we play the video? Yeah.
Well, the video's not as good as the video's not as good as just their promo thing. This is just featuring a news article.
Oh, okay.
If you just play their promo that's in the background, it's even...
That's better.
That's better.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it's like you can turn things and I don't know. It's take things apart. It's just pretty amazing.
Yeah, it seems like it. So, we don't need no education.
So you can see it in like a 3D.
That is pretty amazing, yeah.
Yeah, and it comes with these glasses. Like, see those glasses that has. See, this is a perfect one. There's like 2 different glasses. Anyway, it's pretty cool.
Thanks, Mad Dog. You know, let me tell you a little bit about my history, guys. Yeah, check this site out, folks. If you got kids, you need to get them involved in this site. It looks really cool.
Well, I don't know how much the actual product is.
Just to check it out.
Product.
Go ahead. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? And how can you have any meat if you don't eat your pudding? Comfortably numb. We don't need no education. I think I listened to The Wall about 100 times in my life. Yeah, it's one of the greatest albums ever made. I put it up there with the White Album by the Beatles. Truly. Yeah, the site I just posted the link. It's called edu.zspace.com. That was from a movie, Apocalypse Now, and it was, I love the smell of napalm in the morning, Ron. Yeah. Nice try, though. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory.
Doesn't actually have a price on their site.
Well, that's because it's expensive. Sarah is my running mate. She's my partner. She's going to be my vice president.
They do have like a...
Yes, Shadow. I know. You know. I know.
Leave
great.
a message and they'll get back to you, but...
Okay, so they send you back a price comparison, which is probably, close to $15,000 or something, I'm sure. It's a hardware-driven tool, utility that you need to buy for a classroom.
Wait, and then they have the curriculum.
He's a firebat. A unit in StarCraft says that he loves the smell of napalm. Okay, Shadow. Well, that was taken from Apocalypse Now with an actor that many of you may not have known is one of the greatest actors of all times, Marlon Brando. I could have been a contender.
You could become a developer.
And you could become a developer right now. I guess I should just, go ahead and apply.
Curriculum specialist, business development manager.
Robert Duvall said he is a great actor. Well, Robert Duvall is a great actor.
They want a senior lead 3D artist.
Oh, that would be kind of cool. That would be perfect for that. I can draw in 3D.
You probably could.
I can. I can actually sculpt in 3D. I do it every day in my mind. Hey! Cool little innuendos about The Wall by Beekman. Well, what do you mean some tech is actually good? Almost all tech you can always sample. I mean, the nice thing about tech is it's like a world of sampling. I met some pretty interesting tech gurus out there. I met a guy, 4 months ago when we went over to the Solar Fest. It was just a weird event. We went to a coffee shop, and I met a guy who builds rack servers. His name is Kyle, and I haven't called him back yet.
You should call Kyle.
Should give him a call tomorrow. And I've been wanting to, hook up and just say, hey, what's going on? Because he obviously is on the cutting edge of building rack servers. He said that you could run your own server out of your own business for a heck of a lot less than most businesses are running through borrowed space on servers. So he's making money converting businesses to their own servers. And, running a computer 24/7 is a lot cheaper than paying for a lot of throughput and data streams and time. The loads that they encounter are oftentimes, shouldered by the company. I'm sure that Vaughn has to pay a lot for their server space, and they're probably, trying to balance everything out financially. It would probably benefit Mark if he had his own entire system running out of his house.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you have just one system running out of your house...
Yeah. Well, you have a redundant server, too. No, you always have a redundant server. Vaughn is pretty good. Mark has done a good job with this chat scripting software. But clearly we need more interaction and co-hosting. You guys probably remember Stickcam and their ability. Well, there are other video entities and internet chat sites that are using some interactive stuff, but it looks kind of phony and cartoonish.
The Philippines is bracing from impact from a massive typhoon. The monster storm could pack winds of 105 miles per hour by Sunday morning when it's expected to make landfall. The capital, Manila, may get a direct hit. Last year, a typhoon left over $100 million in damages in the Philippines. Yet another in 2013 left thousands of people dead.
Wow. Well, you know, a lot of the Sarah's so tired. Wow. A lot of the deaths as a result of the earthquake in Nepal could have been averted. 9,000 people died recently in Nepal. This is a thing that could have been alleviated. You know, one of the problems with our country's approach is we send troops in instead of providing immediate air support. And one of my ideas is to drop food and water in areas that are stricken with humanitarian crises. Now, the idea is a simple image I created, which shows a drop point of food and water at any location. And I can tell you that if we don't immediately get food and water to places, 9,000 people die. So this is the best solution we can do, other than obviously helping build their economy somehow with, you know, minimal means, because I really don't think America can afford to take care of the rest of the world. We don't have the money that we thought we had. And borrowing money to finance $55 billion in foreign aid isn't helping matters either. So these are real world experiences of sending food in immediately, as opposed to just sending money in. Like George W. Bush sent $38 billion on a rail car into Iraq, and it was stolen. We literally lost $38 billion on a rail car that went into Baghdad during the Iraq War. Stolen. Yeah, $38 billion. Yeah, you know what that means? $38,000 million that Americans could have had. Obama just sent $500 million over to the rebels. Bought them a bunch of Toyota pickups, military-grade Toyota pickups. And now ISIS has them. Isn't that kind of ironic? And coincidental, mind you. Our State Department requests all these Toyota pickups to come in, and then right about almost immediately when they arrive, they appear in an ISIS video. They're doing something. They're sending in Toyota pickups. There's a State Department procurement order for them. That's how they found out where they came from. Nobody could figure out where Toyota made this sale, because these Toyota pickups came up in an ISIS video recently. So we're beginning to see that the CIA policy of starting wars through economic hits is beginning to show its ugly face to the American people. And now that the word is spreading that this force of ISIS is concocted, and they're even looking for a new video production guy. Scissor Fight got a link of a video production job working at the CIA because they're not happy with the videos they're making for ISIS. Now, I want to show you the most atrocious thing our country's done recently is sending a C-130 in and dropping bombs and killing 22 people at a Doctors Without Borders hospital in Afghanistan. Now, our government has got a mixed story on this. We can't understand anything about it. At one point, they said the hospital was being used to hide people, terrorists, and then they said they knew where the hospital was. But this is an even more telltale sign that they really don't want anyone to know anything. U.S. armored vehicle rolls through the Doctors Without Borders hospital, destroying evidence. It's been 2 weeks since the U.S. forces bombed a Doctors Without Borders hospital in Kunduz, Afghanistan, killing 22 staff members and patients. The organization has since called the incident a potential war crime and has demanded an impartial international investigation. Well, Obama apologized for the bombing last week and promised a full investigation, but he has denied the request for an independent inquiry by international parties. And before any investigation could be held, a funny thing happened on Thursday. A U.S. armored vehicle arrived on the scene and forced its way into the ruins of the building. Doctors Without Borders said the intrusion was in violation of an agreement they had with U.S. forces, which guaranteed they would be given notice before each step of the procedure involving the organization's personal assets. personnel and assets, and they added that their unannounced and forced entry damaged property, destroyed potential evidence, and caused stress and fear for the team at the Doctors Without Borders location. There you have it, everybody. Thank you for that link, Scissor Fight. We're processing a lot of stuff here tonight. Our nation is not going to benefit from a war. Wars have always been used to expand credit. That's why they use wars. They start wars because they run out of credit. That's what the bankers are all about. And all wars are bankers' wars. It's disturbing, yeah. The fact that our country engages in this type of behavior is a clear view to the average American that we've got to change the political structure somehow, folks. And if you rely on the two-party system to do that, they're going to give nuclear missiles to Iran. They're going to have an open border, allowing illegal aliens to come willy-nilly into our country and take over our cities. Seriously. This is not some isolated phenomenon. Hillary wants these people in there to vote for her and the Democrats. They're using lowball tactics to get votes. She's actually upset that Alabama has said that illegal aliens can't vote. She's actually upset about that. You've got a very, very crazed New World Order puppet in Hillary. And she has no clear view of anything. She's just doing what she's told. Now, if you don't vote for an honest man in this upcoming election, you're going to lose an opportunity to have a better government. And it's going to be another 4 or 8 more years of the same old crap. We've got total corruption at the highest levels. And I'm building a nation, a national movement of honesty and dedication to a better government. That's what this is all about. We want a top-down restoration of our nation. Now, people say, David, why don't you run for a local office before you run for president? Because I obviously haven't served in government. Well, I think I did try. In 2014, I ran for the House of Representatives here in Washington State, and the media, the foreign-owned media, vilified me, calling me names. Seriously. The Democrats were really hating on me big time, and I had 90% of my signs stolen. We put signs out every day, and they kept getting ripped down and torn up. These Democrats and Republicans are willing to cheat to control the future of this entire country. They want to maintain power. They have a sense of entitlement that just doesn't... You and I wouldn't understand that, because these are world-class criminals as politicians. These people are engaged in the lowest type of prostitution on earth. Politicians. And they're in it for the money. Now, Scissorfight just showed you the link that the CIA is actually looking for a video producer and director. They know their videos look stupid with the green screens and the whole thing. Everything seems so poorly done, yet it seems professionally done. And now they're wondering how they can paint this picture where ISIS, the bad guy, is somehow going to be doing some scary things. What disturbs me is that they're still riding with this lie that they've been called on numerous times and continue promoting this idea that there's this organization called ISIS and they're putting a caliphate out and they're now the new threat, terror threat. We're being played. Our country is being played. Every time they talk about terrorism, we're walking and waltzing into a war with other countries, which doesn't serve our better interests and certainly doesn't help this nation, or any other country for that matter. I don't know who took the signs, but I can tell you it happened all over the place. We're not sure if it was one person driving around and doing it or if it was 20 people. It doesn't matter. But they literally are willing to steal, cheat, lie, and defame and slander just to keep me out of the race. So you know they're scared. You know that these people who don't really, want a third party are really afraid that we might just unite. That somehow Democrats and Republicans can kind of talk about issues in the middle of the political spectrum here. Because we do have people that are former Republicans in here, and we have former Democrats in here. It's kind of an amazing mix. We're kind of a modern day liquid brew of modern politics, forming issue by issue, forming some sort of a consensus if we can. Now, we're never always going to agree. That's one of the problems with politics. If you think you have total agreement, you're not really engaged. Politics is about sharing ideas and disagreeing. It's about finding common ground and recognizing differences. But the United Nation involvement in our country is something both the Republicans and Democrats want. I don't want the UN involved in our process. I don't want their name on our Army protocols. I don't want the UN dropping off their weapons and all their Amtraks like they're doing right now in our country. Because what it looks like to me is they are slowly trying to weaken our nation, force us into war, which will also kill people, which is part of their agenda to depopulate the world. This little move by Barack Obama to engage Iran with a $155 billion payout and giving them the allowance to create these underground missiles that could strike any other country has pissed off Israel, and it's pissed off Saudi Arabia to the point where we're losing key allies in the Middle East because of this behavior of Obama and Kerry. And now our nation is reeling from almost a mindless approach toward foreign policy that is literally coming back to haunt us now. Other nations around the world going, what's wrong with you people? How come you can't vote new people in and stop this behavior of yours of starting wars and seeding economic hits on countries? We got a lot more problems than that, I assure you. They're literally trying to douse our nation with pollutants, chemicals, dumbing us all down, and expecting us all to vote like cattle in the upcoming election. They just want us to go moo or bah, and then go off to the slaughterhouse because they've got the whole thing worked out. The last thing they expect is a third party to rise this country and stop this incredible tyrannical oligarchy from taking over everybody's freedoms, rights, and destroying our Constitution and our environment. But lo and behold, we're still here and we're still fighting for this beautiful movement we call a third party. I don't think I can look at this picture anymore. I have to get rid of it. All right. We're going to go ahead and bring you a little bit more time. We got 30 more minutes. I'm going to take a quick break, kind of clear my head. Sarah's going to talk for a while, and then I'll finish off the full 4-hour anti-war rally. Thank you.
Wow. Microsoft is releasing a 1 terabyte Surface Book. You want to know the price of it? I would love for you to all guess. You probably already know. Or you're Googling it right now. No. It's somewhere between $1 million and $500. It's definitely not free considering it's from Microsoft. Less than $500,000. Oh, thank you. It is going to cost $3,200 for a Microsoft 1 terabyte Surface Book. No, Mad Dog. No poetry. Not really. A Surface, Microsoft has basically their Chromebook version, Google has a Chromebook, Microsoft has a Surface. But for $3,200, I mean, a MacBook Pro, I don't know. Maybe they want it to be kind of like the MacBook Pro, but it's supposed to have supposedly it would have a 1 terabyte solid state drive. No, Mad Dog, but that would be fun. They say the Android Circuit Moto X style defeats the iPhone 6S. I haven't checked that out. What is it? A 50-inch screen? It's not a 50-inch screen. It's a 1 terabyte solid state drive, I guess. Go ahead and just ask your question. Instead of saying, I have a question, just type the question. It's hard getting older without a cause. Oh. Well, then just get behind the cause of making David president. Then there you go. You'd have your cause. $3,200, 6115. Yep. Oh, and by the way, speaking of technology, Google Chrome has removed the OK Google feature from the Chrome browser. So it used to be as of Chrome 46, Google has retired the OK Google voice action for desktop users. It had gone from just a plug-in to a full feature of the browser, but a voice search was not used that much. You get the impression Google is listening to every sound in the room. Maybe that's why it wasn't used very much. People were afraid they were listening. Ooh, why don't you go get a different version that doesn't have BPA? Well, I expect the best. Prepare for the worst, but expect the best. That's the issue. Yes, my cat is okay, and thank you for my compliments. No, I think he's getting some coffee. Oh, your Ubuntu box is down for the counts? Can you try and load Chromium on there, Chromium OS instead? Okay, 3688, are you singing to me? Coffee, right. Yes, he's getting coffee. And maybe something else. I hear a spoon on something, which that usually isn't coffee. The cat is in the other room, sleeping somewhere, I'm sure. You should have been here yesterday or the day before when the cat was actually here. You snooze, you lose. You better be here every single day, and eventually you'll see the cat again. You tried to clean the heat sink, unlatched it to take it off, and the processor came out with the heat sink and the new AMD thermal paste acted as a bonding agent. Yikes. I do have a great cat. Yes, we have stuck to our guns and refrained from unbanning all. I think it was the incident we had a couple months ago that just decided to do that. Yes. Oh, wait, is that the storms are brewing in your eyes? Or I like the one, smile a while for me, Sarah. That's a good one. Oh, well, I think my eyes were a little bit crazy before just because I haven't been getting as much sleep as I should. No, Amber, I think is going to be my last furry pet. I'll visit other people's furry pets, but she's going to be my last furry pet. I know. I love her. I really do enjoy her, but I think that's it. She's out of the country. That's the update. She decided to go check out the South Pacific. So, south of the equator right now, which is like the perfect place to be this time of year, right? She just stay there until like April and then come back here. And that would be perfect. Okay. Yeah. Alright, good to know there's no more OK Google things. Now this is an interesting little tech article. Oh, thank you, Mad Dog. I like intelligence and intelligent people. I keep I keep taking off this marijuana leaf and David keeps bringing it back on. Maybe I've matured, but I'm also very loyal. 1272. Have you ever thought of that? Probably one of the most loyal people on the planet. Very, very loyal. And no, he's not. So I'm going to get rid of you. Bye. Worf has been awarded a $234 million from Apple in a patent infringement case. Get this. A federal jury in Madison awarded UW-Madison's intellectual property arm more than $234 million Friday in a patent infringement lawsuit against computer and gadget maker Apple. The verdict on the award amount reached after the jury deliberated for about 3 hours was about $165 million less than they had sought. But their legal team, of course, was all smiles and handshakes. Okay. The case centers on technology that became a component of processors that run widely popular Google devices such as the iPhone and iPad. It's the biggest patent infringement award seen in Madison's federal courthouse. That handles a lot of patent cases because of the pace at which the court works. All right, let's see. This is a case where the hard work of university researchers and the integrity of patenting and licensing discoveries have prevailed. There's seminal computer processing work that took place on the University of Wisconsin-Madison campus. Apple attorneys declined to comment, referring questions to the California company's public relations office. Apple attorneys said that the patent infringement was worth a royalty of 7 cents per unit. Chu argued that the royalty should be $2.74 per unit.
I'm going to show you a little clip that really is, we played it early in the show, and many of you have not seen it. And I want to give you another snippet of reporters that apparently have been,
I need to
go ahead. Reporters,
you've played this before.
This reporter story is kind of weird because they've got reporters that seem to be zapped with radio frequencies, and they're unable to finish their sentences. You have to get rid of these people that come in here.
I haven't been watching all right these people.
Well, what I do is I have a thing called ChatDar. And, if you see people that have no idea of what politics is all about and they're coming in to just disparage us, all you have to do is go through the chat like this when you see anything. I just clean up the chat. So, because we have people that don't realize that this is no job. I work all the time, but I enjoy the show. It's an avocation. This is my avocation.
David has a request for me. What's the request?
Let's listen into this.
No, David does not want me to dress up as a nurse for Halloween.
Span reporting from our Rock County Bureau to the Janesville Gazette. Thanks, Marco. Well, Wisconsin has officially joined 25 other states in a lawsuit against President Obama's health care reform law. Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen says Wisconsin is the latest state, including Iowa, Kansas, Maine, Ohio, and Wyoming, to join Florida's suit. The states claiming the exorcists saw unto Stracho and lay bring risk by health urgent. President Obama.
What was that about?
Unless maybe they're right. She was
CBS News Branson live at the Staples Center with highlights and backstage coverage we're seeing for the very first time. Well, a very, very heavy rotation tonight. We had a very Darrison bite. Let's go ahead, terrorist chases to the head of the pit.
Wow.
Get that from killing civilians. So if it takes ground forces, it's going to be at ground forces.
Meaning it may have only just begun. Mark McAllister, Global News. Now, Defense Minister McLeod did confirm today that more than 54 18 fighter jets are spending about as much as 20 and ready to assist the 100 deployed over the amount needed. Now, it did depend that how the NOLAN remerges our end, while the university or the UN mission as whole received support from all batteries in the hues of the Garbins of today. Excuse me. I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Mark McAllister. From Japan tonight, newly released video is providing a shocking...
You do not need to know the language to see that something's happening to this woman. It actually sends chills down this person's spine every time you see it.
Předpokládat, že odpoledne pravděpodobně budeme úspěšnější. A teď se pojďme podívat na to, co přinesly poslední hodiny na české politické scéně.
Apparently Judge Judy's had this happen to her many times, but they've cut the videos, so you don't see it. The next event is unique compared to the others. The other reporters had this happen within a month period. This next audio clip was caught live on radio and has happened long before this happened.
Next hour we'll take your phone calls with Nick Redfern as we talk about one of Ian Punnett's favorite subjects, cryptozoology. Hey Ian, double duty this weekend, huh?
Exactly. Oh, thank you. Were you watching any of the soccer action?
Yeah, I did in glimpses, but I'm more fascinated with Paul the Octopus.
Yeah.
He's picked Spain over the Netherlands, and he's not wrong. So, off we go.
Well, it was one of those little main surprises. We walk in the house, it looked like one great big room, and then you could break it up like that, and each one could have its own separate heat. And I think, wow, I thought, is this kid ever going to give a driveway? And that depends. Did he threaten the Hoover? Has he not put away the dishes? And if a lot of people would keep keeping their shirt off, any reason at all to get it off.
Exactly. Ian Punnett, this Saturday and Sunday on Coast to Coast AM.
In some weird altered state.
It was one of those little main surprises. We walked in the house, it looked like one great big room, and then you could break it up like that, and each one could have its own separate heat. And I think, wow, is this kid really going to driveway? That depends. Did he threaten the Hoover? Has he not put away the dishes? And if a lot of people would keep keeping their shirt off, any reason at all to get it off.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people have strokes, it's true. And I would like to say that all these cases, were just simply strokes. But I'm afraid many of you don't understand that RF frequencies have been studied for over 60 years now. Our nation has been living under the illusion that time stopped back in 1950, when technology has been screaming ahead at an alarming speed. And to think that we just, right now simply, believe that, this really is something that is okay. I'm sorry, but this is what's really going on in your life. Your mind has been taken over by the desire to make more money. Hate to say it. Calling him those names is very, very wrong. I'm gonna give you a purge and then I'll ban you. Beekman, if they're having strokes, I apologize for talking about the RF frequencies that are blasting into their head. But if you can prove to me that your life is completely free of any interference from digital spectrum RF frequencies, I'd love to hear it. I can cite story and study after study that prove that people have lower IQs that live near cell towers. But this is really what's controlling your life. No, they may not be having strokes. The fact is, many of them recovered and are completely normal now. I have no idea. Give me a chance to tell you about the dangers of radio frequencies for a moment while you continue with your flap-trap brains that simply see through tunnel vision with blinders on. Let me help expand your mind just a little bit. I mean, I've got a few minutes here. Can I have that much time to at least share some new ideas? This magazine I had at one time. I gave it to somebody because they really wanted it. And I never even know, I have no idea who this person is. He keeps coming in here talking about this guy. I have no idea what he is or who he is. Never seen him or heard of him. This is a sick attempt to somehow attain a perfect record, which I have. Oh, so now you're giving me a scream? Are you losing it? Maybe you're getting hit with RF frequencies. Yeah, cell phones burn the brain. And I got to tell you, folks, if you want to sit there and, believe all these wonderful things that, there's nothing wrong with the world and all these people had strokes and there's absolutely nothing to worry about. Good night, Oli. Take care. But I'm going to show you that this story, you see it written at the top of this, it's a November of 1965 magazine. The story is radio control, or brain control by radio. Brain control by radio. All right? You need a break? I'll give you a break in a second. Relax. I just got the sound of a scream. You want to get the scream? Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. But this is a radio control by brain, and they were studying monkeys back in 1965. Now, what they found out was radio frequencies not only can alter the brain, there's more in the article if you'd like to read it. Yeah, I don't really care to read it. Is that Obama? Oh, that's the story about the Harvard Law Review gets the first black president. Yeah, that's another story. That was Barack Obama, yeah. I got stories I could tell you into the evening. Barack Obama never was president of the Harvard Law Review. Never. I actually contacted a woman who claimed to be a writer in the Harvard Law Review. Her name is Robin Wright. Under the assumption that she somehow knew this guy who was photoshopped into this picture. Let me remove the brain control story here. And I actually, this is a Photoshop picture. You can see it's Photoshopped. It doesn't take a genius to tell you that, all the lights are wrong. All the shading is wrong. The size of his head is abnormally large. Everything is wrong about that picture. Basically, I called Robin Wright, or I emailed her, and I got a response I literally got a response. I left I left a phone message, and then I got an email back within 5 minutes. Now, you tell me, anybody who responds to a phone call and emails me back within 5 minutes. Has that ever happened to you? I mean, it's very rare. It was like an instant responder almost, and it was bizarre. It was like they had this person who's Robin Wright, who claims to have been a professor, written in the legal review that Obama was in charge of, supposedly. There is not a stitch of evidence that he was ever president of the Harvard Law Review. Hi, Waffles. Sir Waffles said hi, everybody. Thank you, Sir Waffles. Thanks for coming in. But I did some research of my own, and I pulled up a magazine a year after Barack Obama was president of the Harvard Law Review. See this magazine right here? This GQ magazine. I've got 9 copies of it. Anyway, let me rotate it for you. There we go. At the top, you can see Uncivil War at Harvard Law Review, or at Harvard Law. Uncivil War at Harvard Law by John Sedgwick. All right? That story right there, I have the complete story, and I've read every single word of it. Now, this story is about minorities at Harvard Law. But there is not one mention of a president of the Harvard Law Review in this magazine. No, I just took a picture of it sideways. I'm telling you right now, there's no mention in this magazine about Barack Obama. Yet it was done 1 year after he was allegedly president of the Harvard Law Review. Okay? So that's a telltale sign that something's up. Plus this photoshopping that would happen here. And you can't get access to the Harvard Law Review, by the way. If you were to go into the library, they would keep you out if you're not a registered student at Harvard. If you are a registered student at Harvard right now, any one of you listening, I urge you to go to the law library and try to find the records that they claim are of Barack Obama as the president of that law review. Seriously. I'm not going to let it go, Joffrey. He was a lame duck when we started. I've been running this campaign against Barack Obama from the get-go because as a former Democrat, I feel he's cheated the mandate and all the different plans that you guys had in mind for the Democratic Party. And what's worse is Hillary is actually going to do an unbelievable job of screwing up our country by allowing global world leaders to push us deeper into war with Syria, which she's in favor of starting a war with any number of nations that they want to take over. The Union, basically the World Bank and the IMF want to take over other countries. They have control over almost all the banks of the entire world. And there is a little family that runs the World Bank. They're a small little family called, well, they're not really little anymore because they've got a lot of people with a lot of money. Some of them are nice people, but most of them are just very rich. And the family's called the Rothschild family. So a long time ago, the Rothschilds basically turned this piece of paper into your Bible. You know, how do I set up a rally in Washington, D.C. right now when you guys can't even make a donation? Do you seriously think I'm going to be able to get you to put gas in your car to go to the rally? Okay, we're out of here, Joffrey. We don't need a bunch of 2-bit Obama-tards coming in our show trying to tell us that we should do something different, because what we're doing is working, all right? What you don't understand is most of the American press is completely monitored and controlled and censored. Well, Hillary or Bernie have their own agendas, but frankly, they're just puppets. And by Hillary Clinton's own admission, she's not even a human being. She said so to Vanity Fair last week. Yes, I agree, Sir Waffles. I think we will get into a war with Russia if we continue on the pathway that Barack Obama put us on by alienating Vladimir Putin. No, I disagree, 468. You need to rally by non-force and non-violence. You cannot be forceful in this matter. That's exactly what these people want. These people want reactionaries and revolutionaries to start taking up arms in our country. And they want to start martial law environment. They only need 3 states. Let me show you how much the Rothschilds own, okay? Their plan is depopulation. They want to hijack our country. They've done it with the Federal Reserve, and they created this beautiful piece of paper. Isn't that wonderful? This debt note that runs your life. Yeah, so let me show you in unison with the debt note that runs your life, so you get a picture as to what's going on here. The banks that the Rothschilds own include about 160 different countries. And they have literally 160, 170 banks, Rothschild-owned banks. And the numbers are staggering in terms of the money that they have. They have close to $100 trillion combined, if not more. They make Bill Gates look like one of those panhandlers down in the street. Yes, they do exist. You need to look it up, 468. No, you're led to believe that the population's too big because they don't want you here. Our country doesn't have a population crisis. They want to control everything. And these people want to get rid of the population. Now that they have total control over us, they can now get rid of us. You see? When I'm talking about the Rothschilds, I'm talking about all kinds of black nobility, monarchies, and they've created this this entire plan to control the world through the monetary system. I don't know where you can move, Shadow. I mean, Canada is literally living in the shadow of Britain and England. England is the big player here. They control most of the world theater that's going on. England still has control over the United States in many different areas. They call it the city, London. But it's really Belgium and the World Bank, and they own our debt notes. They are one of the biggest owners. The Federal Reserve and the Belgium consortium of bankers, including the city, own most of our debt. That makes us subservient to them. So they own all these banks, the Rothschilds do. And one of the things they really own is, they even own the Iraq Central Bank of Iraq, yeah. One of the things they own is the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. That's one of their agencies. Okay, I'll take a look at your link. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the Russian threats in just a second. Look at this. Oh, that's right. They own the Federal Reserve. Oh, I'm getting it now. So they basically own the Federal Reserve. So this debt note that we are looking at here is basically what they printed up, and that's to control your life. So as they print up money to expand their credit lines, they run out of credit sometimes, and they need to come up with justification to have more credit. So what they do is they weaken our borders, and they come in and allow illegal aliens into our country. Then they send in, then I send our young men off to fight wars, which weakens our country even more. And then we've got wars created by bankers controlling the destiny of mankind. Isn't that special? Where do you come in? You try to stop it as a voter. We try to come up with a way to stop this nightmare from unfolding. This is a nightmare. The UK must prepare for war with Russia. The army has called for a fleet of battle tanks to take on Putin. What a weird looking clown. Yeah, I don't like that. UK must prepare. Britain must invest in its fleet of main battle tanks to meet an increasing threat of ground war with Russia, according to senior army officers have warned. This is in the United Kingdom. Okay, well, the story is, what are they controlling and what is the purpose? The purpose is global domination and depopulation. You want me to spell it out for you? That's the purpose. That's their purpose. They don't need human beings anymore. They can create robots. I can answer the question. They have all the money they need. They don't need any more money. They can print it up left and right. It's a laughable thing when Christmas bonus time comes around. Goldman Sachs gives everybody like $500,000. And they laugh because it's so easy for them to create money. It's just a debt note. They keep printing it up. This is building a future. This is the future of America right here, hybrid capitalism. This is building American products. This is getting a return on investment. This is getting our nation to get more economic traction than you'd ever see under Barack Obama or George Bush. Yeah, humans use up resources. That's right, guess 131, and they want useless eaters gone. Thank you. See, they don't need to exploit our labor anymore because they can get robots to do whatever they need to do. They've gotten to the point where they just need to get rid of the population. So when you look at it from a very wealthy person's perspective, genocide certainly seems like an option, don't you think? So why wouldn't they want to get rid of people? Can anyone think of why they'd want to keep us around? Any ideas? There are no ideas why they'd want to keep us around. That's my point. What I can conclude from all of this is that We need to mobilize politically to stop them from controlling our politics in this country, which they're using money to do, and they won't come up with any credible plans for our country. They don't want to fix anything. They really don't. They want to control the White House, because the White House happens to be the only organization that can handle, has any oversight whatsoever over the Exchange Stabilization Fund. Now, the Exchange Stabilization Fund is the center of the Treasury. And it's where all that black money goes. The black market money goes, counterfeit money goes in there. Questionable practices are checked there. The president is the only one to sit in this seat right here and look at the Exchange Stabilization Fund. Do you think that Barack Obama has bothered to look? No, they don't really need us as a food source necessarily. They could raise gerbils just as easily, or rabbits. You know, frankly, rabbits produce a lot faster than humans, so if you were looking at cybernetic organisms retaining a food supply, it would be rabbits. Well, maybe they are breeding us to be sex slaves. I don't know. I'm not a sex slave. But those who are can certainly step forward and, you know, share their ideas. I'm still having a hard time with that picture. So they need to create a war. That also serves their need of depopulation. Now, I'm leaving hybrid capitalism over here because it's our only hope. I wish it wasn't, but it is. I will look at the Exchange Stabilization Fund as your president. I will come up with a remedy. And I think an infrastructure bank running parallel to the Fed initially will help us wean ourselves off of this corporate tit that we've sucked off of so long that we don't even know the difference between milk and artificial ingredients. I can't tell you how long we've been sucked up to that corporate tit, but I think FDR was the first person to wrap his lips around it and start sucking. FDR printed up so much money that it created a bureaucracy, which we call the New Deal, which ended up triggering some growth, but mostly due to the fact that we were producing a lot of weapons in the World War II, and at the same time we were conserving. So if we could produce solutions for the economy like clean green technologies, we're going to be able to help this country a lot faster by providing these green clean technologies to the American people and to the world as exports. So I envision a growth of technologies that could very well speckle the future with great opportunity for America. I think the government should take a lead in this area. I believe that we could actually create something like a really amazing car that gets 100 miles per gallon. We talk about this on the evening show Thursday night, Technology Thursday. This is the XL1. It's a car made by Volkswagen that gets 300 miles per gallon. We could produce something that gets 100 miles per gallon. It would cost $15,000. This thing is going to roll out at quite a bit more. But the XL1 is just a glimpse of the future and where we could go. Now, we don't want to be financing this with your tax dollars. We want to actually finance it with renewable energy savings bonds and whatever money we still have left at GM. GM could be the center of the U.S. Auto Corporation, original startup. We could actually borrow some of their equipment. But this is an idea that will save the nation. And this is part of hybrid capitalism, this concept. We have a lot of ideas in there, like the U.S. Auto Corporation, to trigger growth in our economy to get our nation back on track. But again, if we continue to do the things that we've done, which is nothing under Barack Obama, to stimulate the economy, other than waste your tax dollars, Reagan's chats led to the White House. Yeah, fireside chats. I agree. And if you'd like, I can give you a little Ronald Reagan right now. That's kind of cool.
Well, first of all, we should talk about the size of government. The problem with government is government. My fellow Americans, our nation is under direct attack by a bunch of communists by the name of Hillary Clinton and a bunch of demagogues like Donald Trump.
I mean, we could go on and on, Kel. I mean, I can do the whole show on Ronald Reagan, but unfortunately the show's over right now.
Well, Nancy, isn't it time for your Valium? Could you get me a few more jelly beans?
I mean, there's a lot to talk about. He managed the White House. He micromanaged the White House. He basically sat back and was Mr. Nice Guy and read off a script. Ronald Reagan was the consummate entertainer and communicator. But what's weird about Ronald Reagan is he really didn't know what was going on.
Well, this is better than Saturday Night Dead. I haven't watched Saturday Night since John Belushi had killed himself.
So let me say this. If indeed we are going to separate from this corporate control that we have, voting for a guy like Bernie Sanders is going to create a welfare state bigger than anything we've ever had, bigger than what we've got today. Voting for a socialist or a socialist Democrat like Hillary, with all of her connections to big business, is going to be like an open door to corporate corruption. You know that Hillary, this is a real interesting point that I think a lot of you should know. You know that Hillary Clinton was on the board of directors of the Lafarge Corporation? And, thank you. Beekman, I'm not going to New York City right now. Thank you. Yeah, she was on the board of directors for the Lafarge Corporation. And she did some amazingly weird things. She defended a cement company. Lafarge Corporation was basically involved in cement production. And she defended the concept of producing cement with a tremendous amount of waste. Lots of toxic waste. And I can't believe I don't have the links for that right here. Let me do something right now. I'll bring it up for you. The chemical waste that came out caused people to die, okay? And the chemical waste was mostly due to using toxic waste as fuel. And Hillary defended the right of this corporation. As an attorney, adjunct attorney, she made about $30,000 a year at the Lafarge Corporation, who's on the board of directors. She protected the rights of this corporation to poison people in the cement factories by burning toxic waste. That's just one little thing she did. But the one thing that you need to remember about Hillary Clinton that no other candidate's talking about is, as a member of the Lafarge Corporation, she actually, here it is. She actually was involved in shipping a certain person in the world chemical weapons. Now, you haven't heard this in the mainstream media, but it's in the archives. I'm going to send you to a link about Hillary Clinton and the Lafarge cement situation to get some background. But this is as close to dirt as you're going to find on her right now that we can really kind of work with. But many people don't realize that she actually was instrumental in actually getting Saddam Hussein the chemical weapons that he used against the Kurds. All right? Check that link out. It'll blow your mind. She literally defended this organization that killed off people recklessly using the burning of toxic fuel as opposed to something safe, and ended up creating a tremendous toxic waste incineration problem. All right. Well, thanks for coming in, everybody. It's been fun. I hope I've given you some ideas to kind of munch and appropriate in your mind and decide what are you going to think about. Carving pumpkins with a gun. That's pretty weird. Yeah, so on the board of directors overseeing the shipping of all kinds of chemical weapons to Saddam Hussein. Yeah, that's kind of a story we should look at. That story's not popping up there, Scissor Fight. It's coming up as a dead link for me. Maybe I'm not running enough flash or something. Hey, thank you, Ronnie. Shadow 2K1, you missed my shows. Well, you can always watch our repeated show at America's Third Party whenever you want. And we have archives dating back every day for years. There's always something new to talk about. Yeah, I think I've covered the things I want to talk about tonight. The weird behavior. If those people were having strokes, I'm sorry, I implied they were having radio frequency stimulation from outside beams. But radio frequencies do affect your brain. Don't think for a second that our government isn't experimenting with beam technology. And don't think for a second that those were women or men having strokes necessarily. They might have been, altered. Because this is a technology in the hands of the wrong people could make me stand there in front of the American people and go, you wouldn't really think I was a serious candidate if I did that, would you? Well, not only is RF bad for you, but honestly, if you actually look into it, the director of the World Health Organization actually has stated, the director, mind you, that cell phones contribute to brain cancer. Now, have you heard any kind of public announcement, public service announcement saying that at all? No. No, I don't live in an altered reality. You live with your head up your ass. That would be a significantly altered reality for somebody. I wouldn't want to live with my head up my ass. Luckily for you, I don't have my head up my ass. iPad, Wi-Fi radiation with wireless router on RF meter with sound. Wow, that's like music to my ears. Let's listen in. Wi-Fi of the iPod is off, enabling the wireless router. Router's beacon signals microwave starts pulsing. This is what's going on. You can't hear it. This is a consumer router for home use, folks. Listen to this. Commercial grade routers in schools are higher. Turning on Wi-Fi on the iPad. Acoustometer. Look at this. Now, we can't hear the spectrum of sound, but Scissor Fight's picking it up here on this acoustometer. The radio spikes and signals are from the iPad. Wow. Crazy. Access a web page on the internet. Whoa. These are sounds our brain is receiving messages ultimately from any radio frequencies in the area. When you're driving down the street, you're getting cell phone towers pass through your head. So if you're wondering why you feel a little scrambled brain now and then, you could be like Al Roker, the guy who was part of the MK Ultra project. Or was he?
Ministered to by what's called a mind control glitch or MK Ultra breakdown. They tell you that this is occurring because he's trying to start trouble on the set, and just nonsense. It's pretty ridiculous when.
Al Roker had a meltdown in a video
below for you to basically grasp what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So for those of you who just know what MK Ultra in the entertainment industry, and though
yeah, it's like they say in Catholic school, leave room for the Holy Ghost. Anyway, there is a lot of
that was the key word, Holy Ghost.
Yeah, it's like they say in Catholic school, leave room for the Holy Ghost. Anyway, there is a lot
and he's glued like that. His face is like plaster.
35
years ago,
a lot of people have noticed this about him. We don't know. We're believing that maybe he's got some hijacking of his brain function.
Anyway, there is a lot of
now, do you believe that Al Roker was having a stroke at this time? That's why he had a frozen face on? You can believe whatever you want. How about a mind control glitch, you stupid bleeper? Is it real, and hope you'll never know the truth because it's ugly? Katerina, so true. The truth is very ugly once you get to see it. And here's Microwave Dangers in the Home by Scissor Fight.
The country of Switzerland is known for many things: fresh air, high mountain alpines, the banking industry, and a high-quality healthcare system. The Red Cross, a symbol to represent
You know, I think I'll leave that for our show tonight. I'll play that to start with. Thank you. Night, Ronnie. Sleep well. Would everyone like to tuck Ronnie in here? So you're saying Al Roker likes to make spaces online? How do you know that's not a mental problem? Well, I'm leaving, yeah. I can't stay up all night. I'm going to be watching The Walking Dead. It takes a long time to watch The Walking Dead. What else does a guy do here? Stu, man, we don't want you to say that in the show. No support for Donald Trump here. Sorry. I'm running for president, in case you didn't realize that. Thank you. I just purged you, man. I mean, I like you, Stu, man. I don't want to, you know, you can still hang out on the show. Just don't promote Trump. Thanks. He's getting all the free press a guy could ever want, especially somebody who has an extra 100 pounds that they need to show off. Yeah, well, we don't know why he has hair problems. I can tell you that he doesn't use my hairdresser. That's for sure. But no, seriously, Donald Trump has an issue that Chris Christie has too. I don't know what it is, but there's something about, you know, a naked man dancing with a Speedo that's just inappropriate. All right. It just doesn't make for presidential material when you think about what's underneath that coat. Cy Sperling, hairdresser for men. No, I don't have a hair loss problem. You guys, you have the original video. Stu Man, I know. Thank you. You can say that all you want. Here's Hillary. That's like Here's Johnny with Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Here's Hillary. Let's listen to the robotic version of Hillary, the one that is a robot. Here's Hillary.
There you have it. There you have it.
She does appear very robotic. If I talk like her, I would appear robotic. Do you catch a cold? No, I'm not. I very rarely get sick. Thanks. No, not getting bald. No balding here. It's all just my hair. Yeah, I'm getting sick by the mere thought that Hillary has $2.3 billion. I don't have enough people collecting signatures in states to get noticed, to get on the ballot, let alone noticed. I have had zero time to talk about the issues. So when we talk about a guy who is buying his way to destroying the GOP and pretty much driving people toward Hillary in this upcoming election, I myself believe that. Can I play this on Halloween? I've got a lot of things to play on Halloween, but a 10-hour theme in high quality, I don't think that's appropriate. No, I can't play it. In fact, I've got a Halloween theme that has already been developed by Scissor Fight. Have I ever been in a movie? Well, I don't know. You tell me. We'll talk about microwave dangers in the home at 9:30 in 8 minutes. Many people think that I'm actually the reincarnation of some famous actors. Many people might think I'm David Soul. He was suave and debonair. My original program was modeled after a person like him. As you can see, I look very similar to David Soul. Starsky and Hutch. Yeah. You got it, buddy. All right. Who else do you want to talk about besides me? Oh, really? You saw me on a movie? Really? Yeah, there's no entry for me in the IMDb. I look like George Carlin? Thank you. Stu Man, you are a guy. And don't kiss me because I'm not gay. David Solheim. I like that. Well, a lot of people don't realize that some people are just meant to be who they are. You might be meant to be who you are. I am meant to be a person who will ultimately help this nation build a 1,000-mile fence. That's something I want to work on. This is my idea. It's not Donald Trump's, in case you're wondering. No, I don't even know who Frank Taylor is. He sounds familiar, though. No, I'm not worshiping the Norse gods or waiting for Valhalla. Although if it's available, I'll certainly jump on board. No, it's my idea, and my idea cannot be taken away. I've had this idea on camera, and you can go back in all of my videos, and it'll be all the way back to 2008. I've been talking about a 1,000-mile fence. Michelle Bachmann took my idea in 2010, 11, and now Donald Trump is stealing my idea. The original idea of a fence along the border was something I talked about right around the time that Pat Buchanan was talking about it when he was in the Reform Party. I used to talk about it then. You know, I have nothing. No, I don't look like Tom Waits. I don't think. I mean, if I could pockmark my face and look like I've been rolling around with a bag of whiskey, a bottle of whiskey in front of me for the past 10 years, I might be able to look a little bit like him. I think. Yeah. But you don't get to lead like that unless you have a, you know. Let's see if I look like him. All right. No, I can't imagine somebody painting a picture of me being a bad person. I've got an impeccable record. Now this is Tom Waits. You tell me if I look like him, and I'll even go black and white for you, okay? Yeah, I'll make this fair. Head to head. Let me increase my contrast. Put my shading down. Tilt my head. Get into position. Assume the position. Hey, spare a drink? How you doing, babe? Hey, can I get a cigarette from you, man? Who you looking at? I'll kick your ass. Did you hear me? Thanks. I do kind of look like him. I agree. All right, buddy. It has been one heck of a great show. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, he's scary looking, I'll tell you. He's got like 2 black piss holes in the snowbank were eyes. Back to Mr. Charming. You know who my sister is. Yeah, I don't see your face there, do you? But yeah, that's my sister. She works in the industry. She is an amazing person. Yeah, you've seen Connie on this show. Yeah, that's her. Thank you. I'm back. Your hero is back. Yeah, of course my sister is that person. Why should we... No, I'm not going to deny that I have a wonderful sister. She's had a few times when we weren't happy with each other, and she said some bad things about me, but thankfully the internet brought us back together, and we're on good terms again. You know. So everybody, we have to start thinking about, at the very least, waking up the people that are near to us and helping guide them toward a greater understanding of what's really going on. Because if we don't really end these things that are happening, and even if you don't believe they're happening, I can prove to you over the next week that they're happening. If we don't start dealing with the fluoride in our water system, which is completely unnecessary, the reckless use of GMOs, which Hillary Clinton supports, Donald Trump supports GMOs. If we don't get us out of war, and Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton both want to send ground troops into Syria, if we don't bring our troops home and bring the economy where it should be back home, because a lot of those people on the payroll of the U.S. government could be spending money in cities like San Diego, El Paso, right up in Washington, they could be spending money in Seattle helping with border control there. We can bring our troops home and we can put them at the border whenever they need to be protecting our country. But we will leave contingencies around the world. My promise is to subtract troops from the Middle East, not add troops. Okay, you go do that, guest 7206. I don't need a rectal exam. Yeah, when you live a clean life, you should be okay. The number one concern for people at my age is, do you have any bleeding from the rectum? That's a serious problem. If you've got bleeding from the rectum, you need to go to a doctor immediately. It could just be a hemorrhoid, but it could be something worse, like a polyp turning into a cancer. So you have to worry about that. But, you know, a lot of the colonoscopies that are offered right now, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that it's only 5 feet up your ass. They are coming out with new technology that will give you the ability to take a pill, and it has a video camera in it, and it literally will look at your entire GI tract. We'd like to make those affordable for people, and maybe you could have it mailed to you. Here's a video camera in the mail, and you stick it in your mouth, and it does this little trip, and you pull it out of your stools. Yes, all 60 feet. And then you send that little video camera with feces all over it in a package, and you have your stools examined, and you have the camera removed, and perhaps it could even send out a signal remotely, so they could pick it up from an international signal system. Who knows? I don't know. But the bottom line is that technology is advancing to have preventative health care in that area. Doctors will become a thing of the past. Right now, they are sucking so much money out of our healthcare system, it's not even funny. We are literally getting drained by doctors that are sucking $500,000, $400,000 a year in salary, buying brand new Lexuses on the backs of your mom and dad losing their houses. And eventually, doctors will be completely replaced by robots. I want to be the first president to go under the actual gun, if you will, for lack of a better term. You know, when you go have your body worked on, it's not exactly safe. But the technology right now, without the doctors, without all the germs, without all the freaks that literally are, you know, sticking their fingers in your body, and God knows what they're sticking their fingers in prior to sticking them in your body, which is causing 250,000 people a year to die of malpractice and death from staph infections. I bring you technology right now. This is 10-year-old technology that's advanced even farther. So the future really is going to be replaced by robots. So I'm not against robots. I just want us to have a democratization of our nation that will keep the robots in check. But right now, these global elitists that are controlling our money and controlling your life, they're in charge. And until we actually get control of our own nation and its money supply, these robots are going to be only for the rich, and they're going to be costly. We'll never see these serve the American people, and we'll always be raped when it comes to medical costs every time people get sick. You're saying that only John Connor could save us? How do you know I'm not a cybernetic organism? Human flesh of a metal exoskeleton. Yeah. How do you know I am not a robot? Well, I'm not a robot, I can assure you. But we are very close to cybernetic organisms literally existing, and I'm serious. In our lifetime, we are going to see robocops. And the last thing we need is some robocop that is psychotic and controlled by corporate America and coming up to your door and saying, do you have an RFID chip? Then I will chip you or you will go to the FEMA camp. Hi, welcome. I am your friend. I will not hurt you. Please, give me your hand so I can zip tie them and give you an RFID chip. The future is very bright at the FEMA camp. So seriously, there's a lot of people that are going to head right toward that psychotic mentality who have lots of money. I want to see technology actually help save us. I want to get rid of this idea of cyber cops in America. No, we won't use landmines. In deference to the beautiful woman, Princess Diana, we will not use landmines. Princess Diana was very forthright about the dangers of landmines. I agree. We should not use landmines whenever protecting borders. We're going to use lethal electric fencing with 100,000 volts that'll fry anybody entering like a little critter. Okay? Now, unlike Donald Trump, who didn't come up with this idea, I've got all the solutions and all the different things we need to put in place and even how to pay for it. Because Donald Trump only spent about 15 minutes in our room, he only got the hit points. He didn't get all the ways we're going to fund this. No, Bernie Sanders and I are not in agreement on turning our nation into a socialist nation, having the working man pay for the non-working man. We don't want that at America's Third Party. And we also don't believe that we can just stand around and talk about the problem with Wall Street. We want to get a lot tougher, and I'm going to fire everybody on the SEC as soon as I'm president. Consider them fired. We're going to bring in a group of watchdog organizations to handpick the best people that could actually target corporate greed. I don't think Bernie Sanders has the balls to do what's necessary to keep this country in check when it comes to corporate greed. But of course, I do not speak French. But thank you very much. It is not my language. I have no idea how to speak it. Okay, thanks so much for coming in, everybody. It's been special. Tonight we're going to feature microwave radiation dangers in your home, and of course we'll run our series of videos about war and how bad war can be. But then we'll talk more about, peace and how you can live a sustainable life in the comfort of your own wonderful world that you're going to make in your own home, that you're going to own when I become president. I want home ownership to be a big priority. I want a lot of you people to get free and clear from home ownership. Some of you may still want to pay rental fees because you don't want to, have a lawn or something, but I really want to create homes for Americans out of the existing houses that are currently foreclosed and condemned. Hello from Tokyo. We love the Sponheim. Thank you, 533. And thanks, everybody, for having the Sponheim. It's been fun. You sound a little bit like Pat Condell when you say peace then. Yeah, I want peace too. Yeah, peace for Maria. Yeah, you can only ban any threats in the room. Sarah's last name is not Connor. No. That would be kind of fun if it was. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Terminator series. It's one of my second favorite movies. I have not seen Terminator 5 yet. I can't wait for that. It'll be a year and a half before it goes on DVD, I think. I only do DVD. I don't go to theaters anymore. I don't like the smell of other people's flatulence. Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming in. You like the Terminator? Here we go. Microwave radiation dangers in your home. Yeah, I thought we had a lot of fun tonight. We do the show every night, except for Sunday. But I'm going to show as good videos as I can. This is microwave radiation danger in your home. It's 6 minutes. I'm going to play the full circle of the video showing people babbling. I've also got a really interesting video of Oh, okay. I don't even believe this story. Yeah. Oh, this came in from the Oregon shooting when I was away. Oh, Chris Mintz, the guy who made all this money on the whole thing, he takes on the conspiracy theories in this video. Okay, I'll play that too later. But we are going to talk a little bit tonight about NASA. I can't believe I don't have this queued up. Maybe I do. Let me see. Yeah, it's not here. Later, I'll be showing you a NASA executive that says that they've been spraying lithium in the sky for years. And he's on record speaking about the lithium that he sprays. And he says it's no big deal. And we know for a fact that lithium is causing Americans to be relatively complacent and affects our sex drives. It makes our stomachs feel distended and it causes constipation. Guest 533 says, great performance tonight, really solid, thank you. Well, I'm not performing, I'm really just being myself. That's what makes this kind of an interesting experience. Unlike other people who have to, put on a show, I don't. Nothing's scripted, there's no teleprompter, and I'm not obese. All right. Can't beat that, huh? I bring you the microwave radiation. Take care. Good night.
Aid workers is also used for the country's flag. The World Health Organization, a specialized agency of the United Nations that acts as a coordinating authority on international public health, is located in Geneva, Switzerland. And in Switzerland, internet access for educational institutions is provided for free. The Federal Department of Public Health in Switzerland prefers LAN, wired connections, to wireless. The Swiss government and the World Health Organization share the largest microwave research studies, and some of these studies are showing adverse effects. By having such a close association with the World Health Organization, what has the Swiss government learned about Wi-Fi that we are unaware of? Cell phone radiation is mainly limited to the duration of the call. However, if you live close to cell phone towers, you're exposed to constant microwave radiation from the antennas. Here, I am measuring the constant radiation emitted by the cell phone antennas on top of this apartment building. And as you can see and hear from our microwave meter, the intensity is quite high. These high levels of microwave radiation that are used to connect our cell phones can also be found in our homes. They are generated by cordless phones, cordless baby monitors, and Wi-Fi base stations. Hi, my name is Magda Havas. Today we're going to look at some of the equipment in your home that emits microwave radiation, and we're going to start off with the Wi-Fi base station. This is a Wi-Fi base station, and it sends information wirelessly to your computer. In the back, it's connected by Ethernet to your modem. It's going to connect wirelessly to your computer, your iPhone, and your iPad. And all of these devices communicate with each other using microwave radiation, and this is what we're concerned about. We can measure this microwave radiation on a scope looking at the waveform. This gives you the actual radiation level, and sometimes it goes so high we can't even read it. Here we can see it. Red is showing danger, yellow is caution, and green are the lower levels. And we can hear it. When the Wi-Fi base station transmitter is turned on, it is constantly sending out a beacon signal, 10 times per second. And this is the radiation we need to be worried about. The constant pulsing digital frequencies that are sent out by the base station, whether or not other devices are connected to them. And when we unplug the base station, the radiation stops. You're exposed to an even greater level of radiation generated by your Wi-Fi enabled device, such as an iPad, smartphone, or laptop computer when downloading and uploading information. The closer you are to these devices, the higher your exposure. Indeed, the microwave transmitter may be handheld, iPad, or smartphone. It is this direct contact that worries the Swiss government, and